Good morning.
Morning, morning.
All right, good morning, everyone. I trust that you all are hearing me and seeing me. You should be seeing me in a second. The thing is loading. I'm just giving a few more persons an opportunity to join us as we await our YouTube live to kick in. I wouldn't want the persons who are watching from a distance to be disadvantaged. So I'm just waiting for it to come in. And as soon as that happens, we'll commence the proceedings. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are just around ready to commence now. Just before we proceed, just confirm, please, if you're seeing and hearing me. Just want to make sure that everything is in order as we commence. I've been told that we are now streaming on YouTube, so we can begin.
Well, I'm hearing you, but I'm not seeing you.
All right, 1 second, let me sort out my camera. It was working earlier, not sure, but technology will be technology. 1 second. Had someone, are we seeing me? Everything is clear as day, so we can proceed.
Yeah, man, we're seeing you quite fine.
All right, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
welcome
Mr.
to the
Newlands.
first.
Mr. Newlands.
Mr. Matthews?
Yeah, you seem to be upside down, sir,
Oh, oh Lord.
from my view.
Is this something that everybody's experiencing as well?
No.
I'm seeing you.
No,
I'm
it's
seeing you
perfectly fine on
seeing you
mine.
perfectly. Maybe
Okay.
Mr. Matthews have to readjust his screen.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, it seems as though you have an issue there, Mr. Matthews. Let me just. All right, so I think we should be just ready to start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Caribbean Maritime University Student Union Examination Webinar. This is something that is the first of its kind, but I do hope that the person who will take this post after me will continue this, as it is a forum that is designed to help you students navigate through the journey of online learning, as is said in our theme. Today, we'll be hearing from a myriad of qualified and truly learned persons, a part of the university administration and management here on campus, that have direct impact on and influence the examinational proceedings. Now, you'll be hearing from these persons from the registrar, from academics, from student affairs, and from other offices that will help you know how to best navigate this online journey. This is something that is new to most, if not all of us. And the COVID-19 upset has definitely engendered some different changes. And the way the examinations take place is, of course, of no exception. I want to thank all of you for coming today as we seek to enlighten, to edify, and to educate you on what exactly the examination proceedings will be like and how you can circumvent the difficulties and the implications of such a system. But before we go ahead, I think it's important that we invite the Lord into our proceedings. And so I'm going to invite my customs representative for the CPFFI group, Ms. Shade Hajigal, to come to us with the prayer. Shade?
Okay, so I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Let us bow our head and put ourselves in the holiness of God, please. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank thee, your name. You have showered us with so much blessings, and your presence continues to remind us of your faithfulness and guidance. May we humbly ask you to shower our speakers today of your greatest inspiration so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge, experiences, and put into practice what we may learn today. We pray that you bless all the committees in charge, that they may be able to fulfill their tasks responsibly, that the objectives that have set may all be achieved. Your infinite blessing would mean the success of this seminar. May we be a living witness of your genuine love through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Hajigal. I feel the Lord with us definitely here today. Again, thank you all so much for coming, our students. This is for you, and I'm very happy that you've demonstrated a great effort in coming today. It is of vital importance that you are here to receive what the administration is saying to you, so you can best know how to navigate this online experience. allow me for just a second to go ahead and to introduce those persons who will be coming to us today. So we have our Deputy President or University Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, Professor Ibrahim Achiguna. Thank you so much for coming, sir. We also have the Dean of the Faculty of Shipping and Logistics, that is Mr. Philip Matthews. We have Dr. Mark Broomfield, he's our University Registrar. We have Ms. Keisha Walker, the Deputy Registrar, Ms. Jonique Dennis, the Examinations Manager, Ms. Patricia Harrison, the University Treasurer, and with her, Mrs. Misha Sutherland Brown. She is the Receivables Manager in the University Treasury. We also have Mr. George Malcolm, who is our Acting Dean of Discipline, and lastly, but by no means least, Mrs. Javilla Ho, the University Counselor. These persons are coming to you from the offices of faculty, of the registry, of the treasury, and the Office of Student Affairs. And they're here, ladies and gentlemen, to help you navigate this online journey. And so, without further ado, I'm going to invite the President of the Students' Union, Mr. Glenardo Simpson, to come to us now and offer his opening remarks as we kick into the proceedings. Mr. Simpson?
Yes, Najee, I'm here.
Okay.
Pleasant morning, everyone. So Professor Achiguna, President, Deputy President, Ms. Harrison, and the team from the Office of the Treasury, Mr. Broomfield, Dr. Broomfield, that is, Registrar, and other members from the Department of the Registry, Mr. Matthews, Dean of the Faculty of Shipping and Logistics, other distinguished guests, members from the Department of Student Affairs, and most importantly, our students. A pleasant morning to you all. I am elated to see the turnout here today for the exam webinar. It shows that you value your education and you are interested, that is, to find out the information that will impact the current situation regarding, as majority of the students are having a myriad of issues: internet connectivity, financial constraint, etc. In doing so, I just encourage you all to take a moment to reflect on your performance and involvement for this first semester. For certain, it was never easy. Challenges and constraints were here and there. For some of us, semester one was unfavorable, while for some, we excelled. Whichever it was, you still have a chance to fix things by doing well on your exam. As I conclude, I'm just asked each and every one of our students to continue to support the Students' Union as we continue through obstacles and constraints to serve and represent you. Let us continue to aspire to inspire as we aim to evoke positive change in our sphere. May God continue to bless you all, and all the best in your exams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Simpson. I know I, for one, have been heartened by your words. And I think that is a great way to invite our University Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs to go right ahead and to deliver his address to our students. Professor Achiguna?
Thank you very much, Najee. And thank you, panel of discussants, moderator himself, Najee, Student Union President. I'm not so sure if our president is listening to us now, but I want to express my greetings to him and other vice presidents and senior administrators at the university. And to our students who line up to hear from us this morning, we know that examination is a critical issue in every institution. But first of all, let me congratulate you all because since March of this year, you have been learning using a model that you were never familiar with, even coming from your primary school days. And this is online learning. But you have all managed well, if I should say. And I say congratulations to you all. Also, you have done one set of examination, that is your second semester examination. And this semester examination is equally coming up. in a couple of weeks from now, or should I say less than a month from now, you will be writing your first semester examination. Examination is not anything that is new to you all. This is something that you've been doing from you were in basic school, going on to primary school, high school, and now you are in college. But let me tell you something that worked perfectly well for me when I was a student. From the beginning of this semester, I make sure I peruse almost any material that relates to my subject matter, relate with my class notes, relate with handouts and other materials that are given during class. Make sure that I complete all my assignments without anyone piling on me before, or maybe a couple of weeks to examination. And 2 weeks, at least, maybe sometimes 3 weeks to 2 weeks to examination, all those materials that I've been reading over the period of the semester, I put them all away. I put all handouts away. I put all textbooks away. The only thing I do when I go into the library is to concentrate on past question papers, because that has always been the belief of educators, that what you learn over a period of 13, 14 weeks, you are going to be tested in less than 3 hours, which I personally, as an educator, consider not to be good enough to stimulate learning in students, because what we are indirectly asking you to do is to just give back to sender. And COVID has taught us now that there are other ways better than giving back to sender. And that is what many of your lecturers have employed. That is using other modes of assessment, like completing assignments, group work, which you have equally done well, online. And these are some of the things you do. So 2-3 weeks to examination, I now concentrate on past question papers. The first thing I want to know about a subject is that how long has this lecturer been teaching this course? If it's a new lecturer, then I know I probably may go back to my book. But if it's a lecturer that has been teaching for maybe an upward of 3, 4, 5 years, I know all I need now is his past question papers. Because you find it, if you look at it, you see that we lecturers, sometimes we repeat questions, but we may change the language. But the objective is always the same. So I encourage you, now that you have a few weeks before your examination, please access the library, ask for question papers. If we can scan it and send to you, I know the library is capable of doing that. They will assist you. If you are not very far from campus, come and use the library. Probably between now and the Wednesday, school will be closed from Thursday. Wednesday is the last school day. And then if you come back at the 4th, if you can still do that, you can take advantage of that. And while you are preparing for this examination, always think of what are you trying to develop in yourself? Is it competency or personalized learning? And whichever the case, the important thing is that you become a good ambassador of this university and you are able to perform at your optimum when you get into the world of work. Many of us know how to get things done, and most of us do not even know that different people work in ways that are not their ways, because you learn in different ways. Some of you learn by listening, some of you learn by seeing, some of you learn by what is described as psychomotor, using your hands, especially the engineering students. The important thing is that whichever mode of learning that we adapt, what we want is to guarantee performance at the end of the day. For today, knowledge workers, how one performs may be an even more important question than what are your strengths. And like one's strengths, how one performs is unique, and it is unique to each and every one of you. Identify your competency. In fact, if you are the type that learn well by listening, you can record your notes and play it back to yourself. Play it like music, because many of you hear music once and you are able to recite it word for word from the first track to the last track. Do the same thing with your learning. Record your materials and listen back to it. Call your friends. In fact, get your brother, get your sister to read your notes to you, and that may be very, very stimulating sometimes. And above all, please go into examination with one clean and clear mind, that even if it is a C that you get at the end of the day, be happy that that is what you merit. Don't use any other means to get high grades, maybe through cheating or whatever means. Be happy at the end of the day that whatever grade you got, that is what you work for. Well, Christmas is around the corner. I wish you all the best during the festive season. Still remember that COVID is still with us. Keep safe. If you have to stay at home, please stay at home. You have been doing that since March of this year, which is approximately 10 months, if I should say. Staying at home for another 1 or 2 months, it's not going to kill you, but we know that it has been very, very pressuring. It has created a lot of stress on you. I am saying this because of what I have seen, what is around me. My son is a student here, and I see what he goes through. Sometimes at 2 a.m., I hear him chatting with his friends, they're discussing their subjects and all that. I know it's been a lot of pressure for you to sit in one room on the same chair for a couple of hours, listening to different lecturers. Well, if you were to be on campus, you know, you you get up from your seat, walk around, you have a break time, you socialize with one another. But studying at home, I must tell you, is a challenge. And I pray that come the new semester and in the new year, let there be a solution to COVID-19 so that life can return to normalcy. So once again,
Prof, you're muted. You're muted.
somebody muted me.
Oh, yes, there you go. You're good now. Okay,
great. So I'm saying that finally I say thank you very much on behalf of our president, other senior members of staff at the university. Please have a wonderful Christmas and work good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your words, Professor Ajiguna. I really appreciate you taking the time out to come to us today. I am quite familiar with what your schedule is like, and it's really heartening and inspiring to see the university administration making the time for students. It really shows, ladies and gentlemen, that we are truly the heart of the CMU. And it's something just by virtue of their participation here today, the university administration is once again reaffirming to us. I inadvertently left out earlier, but by no means was it deliberate. One of our esteemed panelists, Mr. Mark Lee, our e-learning manager, which you will be hearing from in just a second. Welcome, sir. I had inadvertently left you, but I do thank you for coming and for your patronage today. Now, for those of you who actually viewed our agenda, or I'm speaking to both our panelists, all our panelists would have seen it, but our students, it has 3 parts. So in this segment, you'll be hearing directly from our administration. In our second segment, we're going to have a panel discussion based on some questions you asked us through our social medias. And in our last section, or our last segment, the question and answer segment, the live audience will have an opportunity to ask the panelists your questions for yourself. So just stay tuned with us. Maybe the question you have burning on your heart is something that they're going to address now, or we're going to raise in the panel discussion. You don't know. So thank you all so much for staying tuned. So with that being said, we're going to head right now into our first address. And our first address has come to us from the faculty team from our academics, and to welcome us or to bring his address from on behalf of all faculty and his faculty, of course, I'm going to invite Dean Philip Matthews to come and to give his address. Sir Matthews?
Yes, Mr. Najee, thank you so much. Colleagues, good morning. Good morning, Student Union Exec, and a special good morning to our students.
Sir Matthews, we're not seeing you. Just letting you know. I'm sure if that's deliberate.
Let me try my camera. If not, you put up a picture, okay? Okay. I'm sorry about that. Are you seeing me now? Okay.
I've seen that your camera is activated. I'm not directly seeing. I'm not sure if that's a me thing. Is anybody else seeing Mr. Matthews? I'm seeing a screen.
I think my laptop is a little bit old, so all the functionalities doesn't work, as you're aware, because we have been speaking about that. So my apologies. As I was saying, a special welcome to our students. I know there are a lot of questions. I hope we'll be able to answer them clearly. I endorse all that Professor Ajagon has said previously, and Mr. Simpson about the challenges of online learning. We appreciate that it's difficult. We appreciate the long hours that you have to sit and the disconnect that may come from being at it for an entire day. So we appreciate those challenges, and what I want to do is encourage you all to do your best in the upcoming exams, and stay strong, stay focused, and you will be fine. That is me, Mr. Nunes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Matthews. I'm going to also now invite from the faculty team, Mr. Mark Lee, our e-learning manager, to also repeat.
Sorry, Mr. Najee.
Sir Matthews?
I have Mrs. Johnson with me, the Dean of General Studies. She wants to mention a few words, if that is okay with you, sir.
Completely fine. I was actually at her office earlier, but I didn't see her.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Najee. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm on Mr. Matthews' computer, so you can't see me. We have some we have some final assessments that are not exam type assessments. You know them by now. You have the research, well, research methodology is probably not this semester, but you probably have some that you need to hand in the document. I would ask that as best as possible, you follow the instructions of the course lecturer. And where there might be a matter with the lecturer that you're at an impasse, you're not able to resolve that, just let Mr. Matthews or I myself know Mr. McCarthy as early as possible, so that those grades can also be in when those that are marked scripts are also in. So remember those, pay attention to them. Please pay attention to the plagiarism issues, because we will be turning back all of those to the students that are plagiarized. It means that we have to take some time to probably do those. And what would be wonderful is between the cake and sorrel and the loving your family because we're alive in COVID, just do some of the ones that are not the exam type. So when you finish with exams, you can rest before second semester begins. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Dean of the Faculty of General Studies, Mrs. Smith Johnson. And as you've heard, if you have issues in terms of the script or you have an assessment that is not an examination script, ensuring you're having issues, do speak with your deans of faculty. They're there to assist you. And as you'll hear more of today, you'll hear exactly how that can be done. With that said, I'm going to segue into Mr. Mark Lee's address. He's our e-learning manager. Mr. Lee.
Thank you very much, Najir. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're all doing well and staying safe in these times. I'll be very short and spicy with this message. The e-learning department would first like to congratulate both students and lecturers on their amazing ability to learn this new platform and just how well they have done in a short space of time. I'd just like to point out to you guys that while it is something new, you know, not everything new is necessarily bad or good. It's all about how well you put yourself into it. And as the vice president was saying, if you continue on the same path, then we're sure that the exams will be a breeze and that you will have, you know, wonderful grades coming out of this season. What I would like to say is that the face-to-face learning as opposed to the online methodology, they might be different in terms of the methodologies used and the tools used. However, the outcome will be the same. Thanks much, guys.
We're not hearing you, Mr. Dooms.
There we go. My bad. I was saying that rest assured, this is not the last time you'll hear from them throughout the entirety of today's program. As I had alluded to earlier, we're going to have a panel discussion after based on the questions you shared with us through our social medias. And lastly, we're going to have a session where you can ask your questions to them yourself. Now, with that said, I'm going to segue into our next team who will be coming to us, and that will be the registry team. I'm going to invite the University Registrar, Dr. Mark Broomfield, to come now with his address. Dr. Broomfield? Dr. Broomfield?
Yes, good morning. I'm just trying to ensure that my station is set up correctly. Are you seeing me, Najee?
Seeing and hearing you loud and clear.
You're not, right?
Yeah, man, you're good.
All right, morning, everyone. Please allow me to greet the members of the panel, the Vice President, Professor Jaguna, the Deans, Mr. Matthews, Yvette Johnson-Smith. I see my fellow registered co-workers there, Miss Dennis. I believe Miss Walker is online as well, but due to the challenges with her computer, she has to be using her phone. Miss Harrison, who is the treasurer too, and Sam McCarthy, all of the members of the university. And actually, I want to big you up for the initiative and the student union for putting students first, and even in a challenging time to find a medium to seek to first listen and to first hear the students' concerns, and then to work with the administration of the university to create a way to address these concerns. And whereas if we were face-to-face, it would have been difficult to address all the students at once. Somehow, COVID-19 has presented us a platform where we can speak to the students. And I really want to big up the student union in a big way for being creative and recognizing that their responsibility first is to the students they serve, and for keeping us administrators honest, for ensuring that we keep at the forefront of our minds the needs of our students, who I'm sure are going through very, very difficult times. And this new norm that has been forced on them, you know, comes with the challenge that they had before, the financial, the social, the security. And I can only imagine in some instances how difficult it is for many of our students and parents who are going through some difficult times. And I want to say from the registry and from the university whole, its officers and its board, that we understand the challenges of the students here.
Dr. Broomfield, you're muted.
Okay.
Yeah, we go.
Yes. I'm not scripted enough, so I can't go back and read from where. but I really want to say that you know, we want to do all we can to help the students and their parents ride out the storm, and to give them the assurance that whatever we can do that is possible, that the university, certainly the Office of the University Registrar, is committed with its team to do all they can to help our students cross this Jordan River. And I want to commend again those who have gone beyond the call of duty to help other fellow students. And if you will allow me at this stage to thank the many scholarship donors who reach out to find a way to assist our students. Many who were only going to give 6 scholarships gave more. Those who were only going to give scholarship gave grants as well. So I really want to thank our partners for showing that they understand the challenges and reaching out to our students. Now, I want to quickly say from the students' perspective that even with challenges, even with difficult times, they have a responsibility to ensure that at all times they put themselves first and ensure that they are doing the necessary work. They're making a reasonable sacrifice to achieve success. And I want to encourage the students and ask them to ensure that they're doing their part in preparing for their exams. And then if you have done what you are supposed to do, and you believe in a God that exists, you know, once you do your work and you pray, then the rest will take care of itself. So I want to encourage the students, even in difficult times, to do your part. If you have challenges, if you have questions, this is the 11th hour, but we will still take your questions. We know that there are challenges that people are having still. Please don't sit and keep them to yourselves. Reach out to us. Whatever we can do, we will do. If we can't, then we will reroute it to someone who we believe can. So please don't sit in silence with your problem and believe it will be solved. It is better to ask. If you ask and we can't do anything, at least you would have done your part. So I'm asking all the students, please reach out to the university, reach out to someone, because many times the solution is somewhere out there. But if you don't reach out, you can't find it. And again, I want to big up the student union. When you say good things, you must speak about it. I want to big up the student union for this initiative and others, and to continue to commend them. And my team is here and they will take any questions that the students have. And as usual, we put the students first, as the union is showing. Thank you very much, my friend. Blessings.
Thank you so much, Dr. Broomfield. And I must let you know that such an initiative could not have been done had it not been for the support and the patronage of the university administration. We can only make a better life for our students together. And we really appreciate you taking the time to come to us today. I must, before proceeding, big up my persons who are watching in YouTube land. As I said, we're live on YouTube, and I'm noticing, guys, and I must thank you all for coming, that we are at our limit. This room will only accept 100 persons. So if you know someone who's trying to join in and is unable to, unless someone leaves and comes back, we are live on YouTube, and we have our social media correspondent, who is Miss Davia, my apologies. She's the digital marketing and promotional officer on the union. She's been monitoring that section. So even if you're on YouTube and you're asking your questions, rest assured they will be answered. We have her here. She's in the room and she's also monitoring our YouTube. So when it comes to that section, you'll get your answers. So hello to all of you watching on YouTube. I'm very happy to hear you. And I am very happy to see you, joining us today. And I look forward to your continued patronage. I'm going to ask that my union people as well who are here to spread the word about the YouTube. I know that wasn't marketed well earlier, and no fault of anyone's. And for those of you who are here, just some etiquette. Please ensure that your mics are constantly muted. I tried to see if I can circumvent that in the settings, but apparently was not done. So please ensure that your mics are muted, so as we proceed, we don't have any of these unwanted disturbances. Now, with that said, we're going to head into our next address, who will come from the examinations manager, Ms. Janine Dennis. Ms. Dennis?
Thank you, Najee. Greetings to everyone. All right, so as you or some of you may be aware, final examination for semester 1, 2021 will commence on January 4th, 2021, and end on the 17th of January. Final examination timetables have been posted on the university website. Final assessment for this semester will be conducted online via Moodle platform. Thus, no traditional face-to-face examinations will be held. The protocols for online examination shall be the same as those governing your face-to-face examination, unless otherwise stated by your faculty or the university registrar. So for those of you with registration requests, including examination clashes and exception registration, you must submit these by 11:59 p.m. tonight. We understand that final examinations can build a lot of anxiety for students. However, being prepared can help to alleviate the distresses. All right. So we want you to be prepared in terms of knowing the content of your courses that you will be tested on, as well as being adequately prepared for the writing of your examination. This includes ensuring that you have all the resources required for your online examinations. Importantly, make certain that you download the required software. Some of you, of course, are familiar with the ExamSafe browser. We want you to go ahead and download this software because you will be required to download this software. All right. Ensure that you have good internet connection. Ensure that you have adequate charge on your computers, or ensure that you have your charger on hand. Please do not wait until the scheduled time of your examination to download Safe Exam Browser or get the resources required. This may only increase your exam stress. All right. If you happen to experience internet connection or power outages during your exam, we are asking that you report the issue in writing to the university registrar with proof, and you must do this within 24 hours of the exam. The university will confirm cases of outages with the respective service provider. All right, please note cases that
pardon me, but you know, sometimes the internet is just unlimited for a minute.
Can we reserve? We have a hold on, sir. Please reserve your questions. As I said, we have a question and answer session. Just allow everyone to get to their addresses. We'll be following the agenda. So if your question is not answered by then, and this goes to everyone as well, that is when you can be able to ask a question. But we're not doing that now. So just allow everyone to finish their addresses. We'll head into the panel discussions with the questions you've sent to us, and thereafter we'll be able to accept questions from the live audience.
Thank you, Najee. So I'll be sure to address that question, as Najee said, during the question and answer. However, like I stated, if you do experience internet outages or electricity outage, you must report this in writing within 24 hours. All right. The moment your internet or electricity is restored, though, you must resume your exam, assuming you did not exceed the time allotted for your examination. The design of the examination will allow you to continue where you left off. All right. We encourage you, all students, to read your student handbook and understand the rules and regulations governing exams. If you have further questions or concerns after this discussion have ended, please feel free to send us an email and we will be happy to assist you. All the best on your final examinations.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Dennis. Thank you so much for your address. And just so we're on the same page, can you just let the students know what that email is? If they're having those issues, so they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. If you have any issues, please feel free to send those issues to registry@cmu.edu.jm. Remember though, for your examination clashes, you will send those forms to examcenter@cmu.edu.jm.
All right, wonderful. Thank you again, Ms. Dennis. All right, I have been informed that our Deputy Registrar also has some words for us. So, Ms. Walker.
Good morning, everyone. I'm actually speaking from my phone. I'm going to try.
I'm not sure if it's just me, but Ms. Walker, I'm not hearing you anymore. She's having some difficulties. In the interim, ladies and gentlemen, if you do have your questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or send them to me personally. I'll be more than happy to ask them. If you send it to me personally, I'll ask them anonymously. But if you send it in the chat, no problem there as well. So feel free to send them in the chat, and we get to the question and answer session. We will go through them accordingly. Ms. Walker seems to be having some issues. Not sure what's happening with her. See if she's still here. I'm not seeing her anymore.
She will be logging on to Dr. computer quite shortly.
Yes, Ms. Walker.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I have borrowed Dr. Broomfield's computer, so forgive me. Good morning, everyone. All protocols observed.
Ms. Walker, we're not seeing you though.
Am I being seen now?
Yes.
I want to lend my voice to the registrar by congratulating the union on this initiative. And I also want to thank all the students who have joined us today. As the deputy registrar, I am here to remind students about the registration process leading up to examinations. Now, most students who would have registered for examinations this year would have been in regular streams, meaning that you would have been promoted by your faculty. So most of your subjects would have been populated on the system once you have pre-registered and registered. Now, I'm looking at the system now, and I'm seeing a lot of students are still in the pre-registration state. It means that you still need to make contact with the Treasury to ensure that you are registered. Pre-registration does not mean registration. If you are not registered, it means that your examination cards will not be released. So at the time when your papers are marked by your lecturers, there will be nothing on the system for us to add your grades. Now, those students who were placed in repeat or resit streams and are doing exception registration, you too will need to ensure that you follow the process. I am looking at the system and I'm seeing that students are in various stages of the exception registration process. If you are at the fees added stage, it means that you need to log in, you need to confirm in order for the information for your exams to be added to your exam card. Please note that if subjects are not added to your examination card, you are not registered. The university will not be going back into history to add subjects for students. So you need to follow the process. If you realize that you are at a state where you can't move forward, so you're not at fees added, you're at validated, or you are in submitted state, then you can drop us a line at registry@cmu.edu.jm for us to process. Our team is working assiduously. I know I am, because there are several persons who have applied for supplementals who I'm looking at now in order to validate. Once it's validated, it means that the team from the Treasury will be going on to add fees. The fees you cannot move forward from the fee added stage unless you go into the portal and confirm. Please be reminded that you cannot move beyond that stage unless you confirm. There are a lot of things that are in your hands, so you need to follow the process. If your subjects are not reflected in your portal, it means that at the end of the day, when you do your courses in Moodle, you will not be able to see your grades. If you have not completed the registration process, that is paid your fees to the university, then you will also have a challenge, all right? Because you are not registered. Only registered students will be able to get access to examination cards. We are here, the university closes on Wednesday. Some of us still work beyond working hours because we have a lot of students who write us on WhatsApp. So we will still try to assist where we can, but the deadline for registration has long passed. If you know that you are sitting in Moodle classes and you have not started the registration process in the SRS, it means that we have a challenge. It means that at the end of the day, you will not have any grades. All right, so please take the time to liaise with the registry and let us see how best we can sort out your situation. Thank you. I also wanted to add, apart from my best of luck to all students where their examinations are concerned, Dr. Broomfield spoke about scholarships. Most scholarships open at the beginning of the year. So we're looking at January, February. In order to access most scholarships, you need an average of B, which is a 3.0. So we're encouraging students to do well. Do as well as you can. If you get C's, try to offset them with some A's. Not because we're near the ocean, not because we're near the sea. We don't love C's. We're B and A people here at CMU. So as much as possible, try to maintain a 3.0 average so that you can benefit from all the scholarships that will become available in 2021. Best of luck to you all. I'll be here for the length of the webinar should you have any questions. Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our lovely deputy registrar. And you can see she's one that I can say this from the bottom of my heart, really has the students' best interest at heart and has been here for some time and knows the ins and outs of the university and how best to assist you. So please, she's staying tuned. So if you have any questions, as I said before, feel free to drop them in the chat. So when we get to that section, if it is not already answered by then, we can have that being answered then. All right, so we've heard from faculty, we've heard from the registry. It's now time for us to hear from the Treasury. And to guide us through this section, I'm going to now invite the University Treasurer, Ms. Patricia Harrison, to come to us now with her address. Ms. Harrison? I've seen she's here, but perhaps she has some issues in unmuting.
Ensure that she's unmuted, Najee.
Let me see if I can unmute. Not sure. She's here, you know, because I had seen her activate. Oh, Miss Harrison, I'm seeing you. But I'm not hearing you. Let me see if I can.
Unmute. Got it. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting the Treasury to the webinar. And I need to indicate the matters I'm going to discuss and highlight. They are financial. Of great importance to us is the matter of getting to the other side of COVID. To manage this turbulent period, doing what is necessary to be done, and to survive for better times. This means that certain financial responsibilities and obligations and guidelines have to be met by students and, of course, staff within the Treasury. I provided a financial update to students last week. Examinations start on the 4th of January. To ensure that you have financial clearance, all your arrears to the university for former years have to be paid, inclusive of auxiliary fees. One would also need to pay 25% of the current year's fee. To write your exams, those students who are on scholarship, they have to ensure that their sponsorship letters are received. Up to this morning, we're receiving information about sponsors. And of course, there is back and forth when you receive such a letter, because the sponsorship letter in this particular case did not address the arrears brought forward. In respect of students with the student loan, we have cleared students with B, C, D, and E status. That means at this point, there were about 6 students in the A status. So what I'm saying, although all of the information for the student loan system has not been provided to the Bureau, students are given the opportunity to write their exam. The Student Loan Bureau has indicated that they have a backlog in processing, and they will be up to date on up to the 22nd of December. In respect of the payment of the balance of fees, because if you did not clear all your fees at the beginning of the academic year, which is normally what is done, you were allowed to pay 25% on September 21st. The second 25% is due by January 18th. Because as you're aware, the second semester starts on February 1st. Clearance to go on the online classes for semester 2 will be dependent on payment of the total 50% of your fees. In respect of students graduating, the virtual ceremony, students will not be in the video of the graduation ceremony unless they have paid all their arrears to the university. As I said, my job as the treasurer, I have to balance the finances of the university to meet the requirements of students, to meet the requirements of staff, and to meet the requirement of suppliers. So I have to look at the financials from at least 3 different points of view. Although we get support from the government, this support cannot keep the university operational. Tuition fees are needed to keep us viable. And I'm asking students to use whatever, if they are in difficulty, to seek financing from the Student Loan Bureau, government entities, and the private sector. Sitting here, I've seen some students obtain several sponsorships to clear their fees, to sometimes leave a credit balance on their account. So what I'm saying, students having difficulty need to seek sponsorship, and it needs to be done early in the day. For this registration has been very difficult from the Treasury point of view, because students have waited until the 10th hour to address the issue of their sponsorship and financing. I wish for you a Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year and success in your exams. And we in the Treasury will have to be working for some periods over the holidays to ensure all students who require clearance receive clearance. At today's date, we have about 585 students in draft, meaning their financial situation needs to be further examined, meaning they cannot write exams. So each student needs to become familiar with his financial situation with CMU. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your university treasurer. And I'm uncertain if Mrs. Misha Sutherland Brown is here. She wants to add any words to that. Is she here, Ms. Harrison? Do you know if she's in office with you?
I didn't hear.
Is Miss Sutherland Brown, is she there? I'm not sure if she has anything she'd like to add, but I'm not seeing her. So I'm wondering if she's in office with you.
I don't know if she is here at all.
Okay. But I think you've covered it essentially, so we can perhaps move on to the next segment or the next office that's to come to us now. And that is the Office of Student Affairs. Mr. Malcolm.
I hope you're seeing me, everyone. Are you hearing me?
We are.
A pleasant good day to you all. I am extremely happy to be here, and I must say, congratulations, Student Union, for this initiative and the proceedings. To our students, I am overly excited that you're here in numbers to get familiar with some of the processes and wherever you're having challenges. It is indeed a pleasure to be speaking with you all. The Director of Student Affairs, Ms. Donette Phillips, she sends her warmest and healthiest greetings and best wishes to you all. And I must say, the Office of Student Affairs have your best interest at heart, as you are the art of the CMU, and we try to address and assist you in the best possible way and the shortest possible time. And it is a challenging time for us all, as the global coronavirus pandemic has rearranged our lives. But I must say to each and every student, as well as my colleagues, please be reminded that you're not alone. As we approach the final examination period, I want to ask all students to use their time wisely and prepare for the upcoming examination, as this is what will help you to excel in the examination. I ask that students adapt best techniques and practices, because it is better to fail conventionally than to succeed unconventionally. And during your Christmas break, try to de-stress and prepare yourself. The major pitfall for many students during the examination period is not understanding guidelines and parameters of examination procedures. So please just read your student handbook, get familiar with the regulation and your basic rights and responsibility, as we always reiterate, and we cannot reiterate it too much by asking and imploring each and every one of our students to read your student handbook. And some of the students might not be familiar where they can find this. Is readily available on the school's website, the university website, and we ask that students please read your student handbook. We understand that sitting an examination is rarely a student favorite part of earning a grade. And, with that, we tend to implore and encourage our students to, try to do your best, form study groups if necessary, get familiar with some past examination papers, as Professor Ajiguna made mention before, and just prepare yourself as best as possible, because this is what will allow you and help you to excel in your examinations. Because as the challenging times that we're presently going through, you have studies that shows that the pressure and stress are key drivers of cheating behaviors or any form of misconduct in an examination. And we are experiencing that challenging time as we speak. It is a trying time for us all. And as much as how it is challenging for us all, we still encourage students to, get connected and get support, whether from your lecturers, your peers, and just prepare yourself for your exam, and you will get through. So I want to say best of luck to you all in your upcoming exams, and please reach out to the necessary parties that can assist. We have your interest at heart, and we want to ensure that you get across that bridge and navigate these waters. So please prepare yourself. Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malcolm. And I see that the OSA is well equipped to help our students indeed sail to success in this examination period. As I said, guys, feel free to drop the questions in the chat. I see that we have questions already being answered in the chat. So if you feel so moved, please put it there. Also, a lot of persons have been sending the questions directly. I'm going to ask that you not send it to me here, but send it to the host, the Caribbean Maritime University account. It's the host of this meeting. I'm also using that device. My computer doesn't have the microphone and camera capabilities. So I'm using the phone for the microphone and the camera, but I'm monitoring or using the computer for everything else. If you could direct the questions, just copy and paste them and send them to the Union account, please. That would be best, so I can navigate and have all the questions in one place, please. All right, and we're now going to hear from our final addressee, and that comes to us, or that address comes to us in the form of none other than our University Counsel, Mrs. Javilla Ho. Mrs. Ho?
Good morning, Najee. Thank you again for inviting me and for inviting all of us to be a part of this panel. I think it's a quite a timely discussion. So greetings to all our students who are viewing and who have joined us on Zoom. I'm just going to say a few words. I did to everything that everyone before me has said, especially Mr. Malcolm from the Office of Student Affairs, and of course we all bring our greetings. But I want to commend our students. I think it's important that you recognize the feat that you have somewhat overcome this year. 2020 was a year that dealt us quite an unexpected and challenging hand. And through my role as University Counsel, I had the honor and privilege of getting to know a little bit more about some of the challenges that you guys have faced, not just university and academics-wise, but also in your personal lives. And I know that this has been a difficult one for many of you. And so I want to commend you for making the efforts that you have to persevere and to take time to recognize that as an achievement. I know you haven't done your exams yet, and that's why we're here to discuss that, but recognize that you have essentially completed your first semester fully online, dealing with all the personal issues and stresses that you may have had in your life, and you've managed to make it this far. So please commend yourself and recognize that as an achievement. I also want to add, just recognition to the fact that we are going into what is typically the holiday season, and I know most of you aren't used to having to study and do all of these things during this time. This is normally a time, where you can be relaxed and carefree and prepare for your second semester in January. But I know that this time will require of you, I think, greater time management. So definitely want to encourage that you enjoy the period, enjoy the little break, get some rest, enjoy some time with your family and friends, safely, of course. But at the same time, be sure to plan ahead. That is going to be key for ensuring that you get in the time to study and to prepare yourselves for these exams that are coming up. And I heard Ms. Dennis mention that your timetables are now up online. And so take a look at that even now, and so that you can better prepare yourself and create your own study schedule for how you're going to navigate the few weeks that you have as a break. But at the same time, again, I want to implore you to be intentional about taking some time out just for yourselves. Take a break. Don't worry about the studying in those moments. If you have set your time aside to study, this should make it a little more stress-free when you are enjoying your time with your friends and your family. But again, I do hope that this session and this panel discussion will be a very informative one. I know, again, from my interaction with a lot of you, that you have a lot of questions for these departments, and I hope that this will be an opportunity for you to get some clarity and hopefully transition into this exam period with a better understanding of what is expected of you and what you can do to prepare. So thank you again, Najee. And of course, if there are any questions for the Office of Student Affairs, you have Mr. Malcolm and myself here who will do our best to address those. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. So. I really do know that you have our students' best interest at heart, and we appreciate you taking all the time to come today. We really do value you and what you continue to do for our students. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are finished with the addresses. We're now going to head into the panel questions. Now, we would have launched on our social media platforms over the past couple of days, asking you, our students, what exactly are your concerns? What is it that you have anxieties, worries, and concerns about regarding this upcoming examinations period? Now, based on those things that you have told us through our stories, through your DMs, through your messaging, through your emails, and I've received a lot of emails regarding exams, we have compiled some questions, which is why we put the question and answer session last, because we don't want to go ahead and to replicate and to duplicate the information over and over and over again. So we're going to ask some questions now that you would have given to us. And if after listening to all those questions, at the end of the panel discussion, your question has not been answered, then we're going to have a question and answer session after this. So without further ado, we're going to head into our panel discussion. And our first topic for the panel discussion comes to us in the form of registration. And I'm going to direct this question to Ms. Walker. I know you're here. So if according to the SRS, a student is not fully registered, what does he or she have to do to become fully registered? And in answering, if you could just please take our students through the entire registration process and where they should be now.
Are you hearing me, Najee?
Hearing, not seeing.
I see you always want to see my mug.
There we go.
Okay, so let's go through the registration process, because there are two ways. As I indicated, those students who would have been promoted by their faculty, it's the norm for you to you would have registered yourself. Those students who are first years, are you hearing me still, Najee?
Loud and clear.
Okay, because it said something here about my internet. Those students who are first year students would have been pre-registered by the admissions team when they came to the university during the registration process. Once you have pre-registered, you will need to register. Now, registration requires payment. So you will have to have paid a portion or all of your tuition for this academic year. Now, if you have not paid any money at all, it means that you are still in the pre-registration state, which means that nothing will be showing on the system for you. The system doesn't populate your subjects until you have made payment. So even if you have gotten access to Moodle in whatever unconventional way.
Miss Walker, I'm so sorry. I love you. There should be no access to Moodle because we cannot be on the river and on the bank. I'm sorry, Kish. We cannot be illegal and legal at the same time. So we can only help our students who have been doing the correct things, Miss Walker. Because how would our lecturers therefore account for grades without being in contravention of our standard operating procedures? So you have to talk about our legitimate students. Other than that, we have to stand down and do the withdrawals until semester 2.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. So the students who will be showing on Moodle are the students who have made payment to the university, whether in full or in part, right? So those student subjects would have automatically be populated on the system when they registered, that is made payment. Now, if you're not senior subject, if you were given academic clearance and you're not senior subjects, it means that you are in draft state, which means that you need to contact the Treasury. Now, the other group of students are those students who may not have been promoted by their faculty, so they were placed in resit or repeat streams. Those students would have been required to apply for their subjects through the exception registration portal. Now, we have a lot of students because I'm currently looking at the 2021 semester 1 grouping, and we have students in different stages of the exception registration process. Some students are still in draft. I would implore you to check your status, because if your application is in draft, it means that we cannot process it. So students who are in submitted to CRU, it means that you're going through the different phases. Now, it starts with submission, then you're validated. From validated, it goes to fees added by the Treasury, and the student will then be required to go in the system and confirm their registration. So based on the payment that has been put into the system, you are required to confirm. Once you confirm, an invoice is generated, you need to make payment. Once payment is made, then it's added to the CRU. The CRU allows the system to populate all of those subjects that you are currently doing this semester. If it is not at that stage, the subjects will not show. So grades cannot be added. So it means, therefore, if you know that you have gone through the exception registration stage and you are looking at the system and you're not seeing where you are at the added to CRU state, it means that you have not completed the registration process. For those persons who were fully granted access, they were promoted but are still doing resit and repeat, it is the same process. Your repeat and resit subjects or supplementals will not be reflected unless you are at that added to CRU state. I know the Treasury, I see Ms. Harrison is still on. The Treasury is processing payments. So if you have gone to Paymaster, if you have gone to the bank and you have your receipts, you only need to submit them to bursary@cmu.edu.jm for the Treasury team to populate your account and give you the necessary clearance. Please note that if you are not cleared, if you are not fully cleared as someone who got advanced placement or in added to CRU as those persons who are in repeat streams, no subjects will be showing, no grades can be entered, which means that you may be asked by the faculty to repeat these subjects again because we have no record of you. Najee, have I answered the question?
I think you have adequately answered the question. Thank you so much. I'm going to switch gears a bit to Ms. Dennis because I know she will have to leave us prematurely. Ms. Dennis, as the examinations manager, I have a question for you. In the event that students have a clash in the exams, what is the procedure to resolve that?
Okay, thank you for that question, Najee. We sent out email to students regarding examination clashes. If a student recognizes that they have examination clash, what we're asking them to do is complete the examination clash form and return it to the exam center at cmu.edu.jm. They can also find this form on the university website. On that note too, Najee, we have been receiving forms with exam clashes done in the form of final project. Kindly note that a final assessment in the form of a final project will not affect your regular 3-hour duration exam. So if it is that you have a final project for your final assessment and it's clashing with your regular 3-hour exam, that will not affect your written exam. So we will not be considering or treating those clash forms as a priority, as to those students who have 3-hour window clashes, those exams with 3-hour duration.
All right, Ms. Dennis, and I know you have to go, so if you have any other remarks you'd like to share before you take your leave. Ms. Dennis?
I'm muted, sorry. Just to remind students to read your student handbook and understand the rules and regulations governing exams. If you have any questions or concerns, like I said earlier, please feel free to email the registry, or you can go ahead and send me an email at jdennis@cmu.edu.jm, and the registry team will be more than happy to assist you. Again, all the best on your final assessments.
Thank you so much for calling, Ms. Dennis. I know you had another engagement, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come out today. We really, really value you and what you continue to do for our students. Do take care and have a blessed weekend. All right. We're going to switch back gears to our university registrar, deputy registrar, who was speaking to us earlier. Ms. Walker, if you could have our students know how exactly, so you spoke about the validated, the different other forms, but how can a student be aware of what their registration status is? Is there somewhere they can go on the Moodle, on the SRS, that they can go to check their registration status?
They can. All the students have access to it in their portal. So the same information that we're
That's
seeing.
the SRS.
That's the SRS. It's the same thing that they're seeing. And if you're not seeing it, it means that something is wrong, because it could be that you're not registered for this year. So I urge students to sign in, see whether or not you're registered for the 2020-21 semester 1 term. And I don't mean just pre-registered, because we have a lot of students who are now in draft state who need to come out of draft state. Draft state means that you have not made any payment. And it could be that you have made payment, but for some reason, the Treasury doesn't have a copy of your receipt. So it may be wise to make contact with the Treasury, give them a copy of your receipt so that they can update your account. So please look and see what your status is currently. We are currently processing XR registration. As I said, the university closes on the 23rd, but we continue to process. If you're having difficulty there, please make contact with the numbers that we provided. We sent out 3 numbers not too long ago for our admissions team who are charged with this process. So please get in touch with them.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker. So we're gonna continue now. No, finally to you, Ms. Walker, this is my final question for the registry stream. What is the process, what's the procedure for applying for the exception registration? Now, for those of you who don't know what the exception registration is, that speaks to the supplemental exams, the resit exams, or the redos, the resits, the modular courses. So for a student who's experiencing or has to get registered for some of these different stuff, what's the procedure?
Those students will first have to have academic clearance. Now, the only students who may not require academic clearance are those students who have been out of the system for eons. But if you are someone who even just completed your studies at the university, you would go to the faculty, because basically what the faculty is doing is confirming that, yes, you have this resit or this repeat or the supplemental outstanding. They will give access by giving clearance for you to go on and pre-register, because you have to be a student in order to apply for an exception registration. So you will complete the pre-registration process, then you will log into the SRS, and because all of this is done in the SRS, there is a button to the left, I think it is in yellow. When you go on your screen, when you scroll down, you will see it, exception registration. Now, particular registration will require information, like the ones that I am processing now for supplementals. I urge students to supply us with all the information that we need, because we're not psychics. If you believe that you are eligible for a supplemental, you need to provide us with all the documentation. If you're required to write, we expect you to write something complete and provide us with contact numbers that you can be reached at. Nothing is more frustrating, I can tell you, because every semester I have that issue. Students apply for supplemental, and when you go into the SRS system and you try to call these students, a lot of their numbers are not working. So I am urging the students, when you pre-register, update your information. Because if we call you, and we call you more than once, and we don't get you, we have to make a decision based on what is in front of us. All right? So the exception registration process, you will go in, the timetables have been published, as has been indicated before. So you would select the program. Most students have been attending classes, so they would apply for the repeat or the modular based on the group that they're in. If you're doing resit or you're doing supplemental, you would just choose a group. Or if you have been sitting in, you choose the group that you have been sitting in. But the process, as I said, does not end until payment is made and you are added to your CRU. But always remember that once fees are added, the student must go into the portal and confirm. If confirmation is not received, it means that you will not be added to the CRU, which means that the subject will not be reflected, which means that you will not have a grade at the end of this semester. This is the only responsibility that you have, to submit your XR and to confirm your XR and to ensure that payment is made and the treasury is in receipt of same. I am still here, Najee, if there are more questions.
All right, thank you, Swak. But I think you've sufficiently answered the question so far. But again, if there's not answer, we'll deal with that in the question and answer session. I want to switch gears now and head over to the Treasury. And Ms. Harrison is still here, thank God for that. I'm going to ask Ms. Harrison her question just to clear the air, and I think this is very important. And because of course, a change in proceedings and management, of course, over time things change. I want just to clear the air. What exactly qualifies a student to be financially cleared? And if in answering, could also make direct reference to our Student Loan Bureau students, as you had made earlier, but just to reemphasize that, and for students who are on the payment plan. But what does it mean to be a student who is fully financially cleared? Ms. Harrison. Ms. Harrison, you're muted. Still muted, Ms. Harrison.
Hello?
Yes, loud and clear now.
I didn't hear your question. There was a lot of feedback on the mic.
Oh,
So
my
you're going to-
apologies. Sure, I'll repeat, not a problem. I was asking if you could just let our students know, just to clear the air, what it means to be a fully financially cleared student. And I was asking that if in answering, you could also make direct reference to our SLB students and the payment plan. Well, just to clear the air, what does it mean to be financially cleared? You're muted again, Ms. Harrison. Okay, we're hearing you now.
Is there any way you can write the question?
Okay, I'll put it in the chat now, but we're just asking what it means to be financially cleared.
Najee, is someone muting Miss Harrison? We can't hear her. You know, this is very disturbing, please.
Ms. Harrison, the question was just placed in the chat.
To be financially clear at this point, it means you would have either paid all your tuition, 100%, and your auxiliary fee, and all arrears from the prior year, or 25% of the tuition plus auxiliary fee and all your arrears from the former year. Those students from student loan would have conditional clearance And those students for which we have gotten scholarship documentation for would have been clear, provided there are no arrears coming forward. So what we are saying, to start the financial year, the students needed to have cleared all their arrears. Plus, as I said, either pay 100% of the fee or 25% of the fee. Show that they are show that we are being sponsored by student loan, or show that they have a scholarship or sponsorship up to the value of at least 25%.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Harrison. So just to clarify, you're just having no balance from last year and at least having a 25% tuition paid if you're doing it personally. Or Ms. Harrison seems to be having some issues. Not hearing you, Ms. Harrison. Yep.
Najee, I think you're reiterating what
the question, please.
Ms. Smith-Johnson?
I'm saying I think you're reiterating what was said originally. So I think you have a good summary of it. So you're
Okay. Just want to ensure that was the case. All right. So with that said, so just to clarify, guys, from what Ms. Harrison just said, in order to be financially cleared, you must have no outstanding balance for the last academic year. You must have paid the auxiliary fee for this year and have at least paid also 25% of the tuition fee. Again, after this panel discussion, we're going to go right into the question and answer where you can ask questions for yourself. But at this time, we're going to go into another issue that has been, has captured the concerns of our students quite a lot, and that is the Safe Examination Browser. And to speak about these questions, I'm going to invite Mr. Lee to come forward. And Mr. Lee, the first question is, what exactly is the Safe Exam Browser, and is it required for all exams?
Thank you very much again, Najee. So the Safe Exam Browser is really, the abbreviation stands for, or the SEB rather, I should say, stands for Safe Exam Browser, which basically is a software that we use to proctor our exams. What it does is that it prevents the individual from moving in between the exam to another site, another location on their device. Will it be required for all exams? I cannot definitely say yes. What I will say is this. It is very likely that every student will be required at least once to make use of this software. The reason being that there are some bespoke or custom courses that are unique to the university, and they will be tested in such a way that the Safe Exam Browser is not necessary. There are courses where students will not be able to use all the resources of the internet, maybe from the marine department or certain engineering courses, that it is impossible to cheat. And so in that regard, we would not have any need for the Safe Exam Browser.
All right, thank you, Sir Lee. Another question is, how does a student install the SEB? Because, for example, for myself, I've never been required or been asked to install the SEB before. So what is the procedure now to get it onto our computers before our exams?
Cool, that's an excellent question. Before I address the issue of installation, I must first advise you that this software is only applicable, can only be installed on devices that are Windows, Mac, or iOS-based devices. That means that Chromebooks, notebooks, those sort of devices will not be able to be used during the exam if the Safe Exam Browser is attached as a software feature or a security feature to the exam. So just to go over that again, this is very important. The devices that are allowed or are compatible with the Safe Exam Browser are Windows devices, Mac devices, and iOS. In layman terms or non-IT terms, that means your Windows laptops, your Apple laptops, and your iPhones are all compatible. What it does mean, however, is that the devices such as your notebook, Chromebook, the Vivo laptops, those will not be, those aren't compatible. Now, how is it installed? It's actually a quite simple process. The instructions are located on the exam page. They will be sent out via the different communication channels through social media with the help of the marketing department and the student union, of course. But basically what is done, just like any other software, there's a link that you would click on. This link would bring you to the site. I'm not sure if I would be able to share my screen now and just give you a small view. But what happens is that a normal process where you visit the site, you click on download, and then you install via the run software feature. What I must state, however, is if that you have a previous version of the Safe Exam browser running on your device, and I am sure many persons would have had this issue throughout semester 3 or doing their mid-semesters for the first semester. Well, definitely the returning students would have had this issue. Because it's a software, there are naturally updates. The previous version 2.4 is no longer compatible with the most current version 3.0. And so if somebody has a 2.4 version on their device, when the configuration has been set for an exam, they would not be able to access that exam because they have the old version of the software. In that case, they're required to visit the control panel to uninstall said version of the software and then go back to the site to download the most current one. These instructions have been bulleted. They have been prepared in a small video, a small 2-minute video that we plan to be issuing to the students, as I said, via the communication channels, just to direct them on how best to install the current version and or remove the previous version from the device.
All right, thank you, Sir Lee. Another question regarding the Safe Exam browser is that will there be IT personnel on call during the examination period in instances of difficulty using the Safe Exam browser?
Yes, sir. We have also set up a communication channel that we would expect the students to make use of if they're experiencing technical issues with the Safe Exam browser. We have also developed a troubleshooting FAQ, which we would advise that you use before making contact through this channel. And if it is that the FAQ has not resolved your issue, when you're making your issue known, we are asking that you provide some form of proof, whether via a screenshot, a picture, some kind of evidence to support your claim of what you're experiencing. The communication channel, the method of communication would also be made available via the marketing department. So through marketing, you guys will know what channel, how it is that you'll be able to get assistance in terms of installing or troubleshooting the Safe Exam browser. Najee, if I might, I am privy to a couple of other questions, so I'm not sure if you would like me to continue on said path by just going ahead and answering some of the known or more frequently asked questions.
My device hearing me? Testing,
Yes,
testing.
I'm able to hear you now. I'm able to hear you now, Najee.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Glad to hear it. Another question now, and this is one that has really been there, and you've kind of alluded to earlier, but just so we have complete clarity on the issue. Now we give lucidity to the issue. In the event that we have the exam and electrical outage or light goes away or things happen, of course, internet, the flow is slow for those of us who have flow. What is the procedure in case something happens in the exam? What is the plan for the students to use?
Okay, so these force majeure situations are act of God. These are stuff that we are, as students and members of staff, we are unable to prevent. So in the eventuality that you're doing your exam and there is some internet connectivity issue or you have some electrical outage, then what I would ask is that via the same communication channel that the student makes, makes a record, aka takes a picture, screenshots the issue, and send it into the examination resolution center, which is, what we're aiming for in terms of resolving the issues. However, it must be said that because you have some very creative minds, for want of a better word, right? So someone might disconnect their router and then take a picture to say, hey, there is no internet in my area. That will not suffice. Our checks are being done via the Flow hotline as well as JPS. So we are able to verify whether or not light really went or there really was some internet issue in your area. And once we're able to verify these stuff, then we'll go ahead and resolve whatever issue you might have been having through the exam. It must be noted, however, that there are guidelines for these and they are all stipulated. They will all be stipulated within the handbook. What I must say before we move to the next question regarding the entire situation of your internet and the electricity situation is that sometimes because it's a new method of doing your exams, right? Persons, even in the face-to-face method of doing your exams, persons really get kind of anxious, nervous, and so they're not at their best wit. They're not thinking, optimally. If you were to experience an issue, chances are, if the issue is resolved within 5 to 10 minutes, meaning that the light went and it came back, or the internet went and it came back, or your laptop died because it hadn't plugged it in, and you plug it in and you want to restart the exam, the Safe Exam browser will not remove you from the exam during the 3-hour window. It will still check the time as if you were there, but it will not kick you out of the exam. So you're able to restart the device and reconnect to your exam afterwards. All right, that should take care of the internet/electrical issues.
Follow-up question, Mr. Lee. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, follow-up question. What is the turnaround time for this? After a student would send in the screenshot or the evidence to suggest that there has been indeed an issue that caused them or precluded them from doing the exam, by when should the student receive some form of correspondence to say that, hey, we received this, we can confirm it, and you will be able to do the exam?
All right, so confirmation would occur within 15 to 30 minutes max. The reason why I said that is that depending on the volume. However, confirmation and resolution are two different things, right? So to make your request or to make your issue known, that's one thing. And then we would obviously act upon said issue by verifying, checking to see if the issue is genuine and then going on to resolve it. However, resolution in some cases might result in the exam being delayed for that student or postponed for that student and being re-administered on a different day. Said re-administration of that exam would not be the same exam, it would be a different paper, so don't get any bright ideas. I mean, it's just that in some cases we're able to resolve it, instantaneously in real time. It could be a situation with the Safe Exam browser, or it could be a situation with the internet and it comes back. However, if it is a situation where, for argument's sake, light gone, electricity went, you had a power outage, and that power outage lasts for 24 hours, 48 hours, then unless you relocate, unless something has changed and you communicate that change to us, we would not be able to resolve the issue. But we definitely intend to ticket, to collect, to record that whatever issue you have, and then have the respective person seek to resolve that issue. Turnaround time in terms of resolving the issue, as I said, will vary based on the issue, but recognition of the issue would occur within 15 to 30 minutes.
All right, thank you, Sir Lee. And a final question to you. A lot of our students are doing the exception registration. Now, if they're not seeing these courses on the Moodle platform, what are they to do?
All right, perfect. So Ms. Walker, the deputy registrar, had alluded to this. Well, not alluded to it. She spoke explicitly on it. The e-learning platform receives its updates, additions for students from the SRS platform. And so for whatever reason, if you are not seeing yourself on the e-learning platform, aka on Moodle, then it means that there is some issue, some unresolved issue, or some unfinished business left on the SRS. Sorry about that. So just to repeat, what I was saying is that if you're not seeing your course, and there are two ways that you could go about this. So you have persons who aren't completely registered. They have no access to semester one courses, to the current courses. And you have a next set of persons who have access to the current courses, but because they're doing a repeat, resit, or a modular courses, it's considered an XR, and they don't have access to the XR or to that modular course. So you have persons who don't have access any at all to Moodle, and some who have access to only the first semester courses, and any repeat, resit, they don't have any access to those. Whichever one of those cases might arise, or which one of those situations you are in, it means that there is something on the SRS platform that you have not yet completed. Chances are, as the deputy registrar was saying, is that your XR is in draft. And we have had a lot of these from lecturers and students saying that they're unable to access the platform, and they are sure that they are fully registered. And some are going as far as to take God off the cross that they are registered. We will do the checks, and then upon our checks, we're realizing that the student is maybe 90% complete in terms of the registration process. However, it is still in draft. So just to quickly summarize, if you jump on the platform and you're not seeing a course, so for argument's sake, you're doing over statistics and you're not seeing statistics, go back on the SRS platform, check your statistics XR to ensure that it is confirmed, then you can see a confirmed date and that everything is tidied up there. Once that is done, it is an automatic process that student reflects, or that student registration starts to reflect on the Moodle platform. So again, there's no need to reach out through the IT channel. Just head back to the SRS platform and tighten up all your registration, and then you should be seeing yourself on the e-learning platform instantaneously. Before I go, before we shift to the other person, there was a question which was asked, which was, what about those mathematical questions, or those mathematically intensive questions? Will I be able to answer said questions on exams? So for all the engineers and the persons doing math, yes, this is completely possible. You are able, through the text editor in Moodle, to answer all your mathematical questions, no matter how complex it is. If you are able to type your questions in Microsoft Word, then you're able to type, if you're able to type your responses rather, and type your answers in Microsoft Word, then you should be able to do the same while answering your questions during an exam on the e-learning platform, as the text editor on the e-learning platform is 99% similar or almost identical to the text editor for Microsoft Word. We've gone as far as to add some, what should I call this? For want of a better word, some plugins that will allow for, easy access to symbols and features and mathematical equations to make it easier than if you were actually typing through Microsoft Word. So I think that would be, about, I think I'd have covered some of the most frequently asked questions.
All right, Charlie, thank you for your very comprehensive remarks. We do appreciate it. And again, I'm sure students have some questions regarding the exams that we'll come back to in a second. I know Mrs. Ho had indicated to me that she has to go soon. So Mrs. Ho, if you could just, before you go, just share some strategies with our students to help cope with the stress and the pressure of the examination period.
Hi, Najee. Sorry. All right, I'm going to try and do this very quickly. Sorry, guys. I do have to run. But again, I think I said it initially, plan ahead. Create a study schedule. I know many of you may be working at this time. I know we have our part-time students who have full-time jobs. And so you want to be able to kind of slot in the times that you can feasibly dedicate to studying. If you're not working and you do have more free time now because you would have finished classes, again, you want to create a schedule because again, this season still has its other obligations. Maybe they're household responsibilities or you have other, events or gatherings that may be planned. You want to have those experiences, still be able to go to them at the same time, still be able to study. And so you want to set your schedule so you can best navigate your time and manage your time. I'd also encourage you to take breaks. I know there's some people who are able to sit down all day and study, and that's great, but a lot of persons don't have the attention or the focus to do so. But also it's good to take a break, whether it's to take a break and speak with your friends, socialize, catch up on some things that maybe during the semester you weren't able to, and just have a moment to refresh and sort of revitalize and refocus your mind. Also, I would really encourage you guys to do some study groups. I've already spoken to some students who said that they've already arranged this. Again, I'd encourage that, especially for those of you who found maybe the online learning platform a little difficult and not necessarily the best platform for you to learn. Have some study groups so you can have better discussions about the content that was covered in the semester, and definitely use your syllabus to kind of guide you as to what content was covered during the semester if you felt like you missed out on anything. And then I think maybe lastly, and this is not so much a study tip because I think a lot of you kind of know how to study. It's just a matter of again, balancing your time, but also be present. Be present in the moments that you do share with your friends, those social activities, connecting with others. Again, this year was a very challenging one. And I think a lot of us have just been going, and including school and the challenges that you guys are discussing now, even with the academics team and IT and so forth. But I do want you to be able to take a breather and enjoy some moments with your family or with your friends. And in those times, focus on what you're doing there. Focus on the conversations that you're having there and not worrying about what you have to study. Again, if you've created that schedule, you know what you have to study, you've already prepared, you've already planned that. When you come to that time, have a dedicated space. And I know for some persons that may not be an entire room that you have for yourself, but even if you just have a little corner that you can have and you indicate to your friends and family, I'm going to be studying now. In fact, tell them so that they also adjust their expectations of you during this time so that you can have some time for yourself to study. And again, reach out to your lecturers if there are things that you are unclear about, even now. Use this forum to clarify any questions that you may have. And of course, utilize your Students' Union academic representative here, Mr. Nunes. If there are any other concerns, again, this shouldn't be a difficult examinations period once you have all the information that you need to ensure that you can transition through it. And so ask your questions here, seek clarity, dedicate yourself to studying during this holiday, recognizing that it won't be a typical holiday season. You do have to kind of sit down and do some work, but also recognize that you can enjoy a little bit of it. And hopefully striking that balance will help it to not be as stressful as it sounds like it feels like to a lot of you. And hopefully if you're able to kind of attack it from that angle, it won't be as stressful. So again, all the best with your studies. I do wish you all the best on your exams come January, and I do also wish you a restful holiday period. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. So, for your inspiring words, and I'm sure that the students will take them to their best ability and ensure that they follow suit. Wrapping up the question and this segment now, so let's head right over to the academic section, which I believe is the final section for the exam. We've been through registration, we've been through accounts, we've been through the Safe Exam Browser, we just have academics left. And right after the students, you'll be able to ask your questions. So stay tuned with us. Thank you so much for staying with us thus far. So I know Mr. Matthews is here, and I know that Mrs. Smith-Johnston is also here. So we're gonna head right into those questions. So for you both, any one of you can answer, or I'd prefer if you answer together. For those students who are unregistered, have participated in the coursework and have attended classes, can they be assigned their grades? We can start there.
Good afternoon again, everyone. That statement, Najee, is a contradiction. You cannot be unregistered and participate in class and attend class, because at the start of the semester, the academic year, the decision was taken not by the faculty, by the university, that registration was contingent on payment of whether it's part payment, student loan, etc. So technically, that was the agreement. So I've been listening intently, and I've heard individuals say, come in and register because there's nothing on there's no CRU for you. But an unregistered student cannot be a participant. In other words, there are no coursework there for a student who is not registered. And I believe Mrs. Johnson interrupted Ms. Walker and reiterated that in an earlier segment.
And if I can add my 2 cents to it, Najee, we have to have, you see, we talk about justice and fairness. And though we will mingle those with mercy and those things, it's not for us to do. Almost every student has had it hard. And there are students who have met their obligations to the university. So we cannot have an alternative arrangement. It would have been for students to go to the Treasury and work out payment. And so we cannot be holding one standard. We have, and the Treasury and the Registry another. As a university, we are on the same page. And so for us in academics, what translates in Treasury as not paid and in Registry as unregistered is much the same for us. If a student registered mid-semester or late, we made contingencies with our lecturers. We asked for them to average out 2 pieces of coursework, for example, instead of all.
Hang on a second. Not only that, we asked them to extend and create assessments for them during this week.
Right.
To
That's
facilitate
why,
those late persons.
Right. That's why we're here till the 23rd and have not gone off on the 18th like other people, because we're facilitating the people who came in late. But you cannot come in at the end of semester and there be any contingency for a student who comes in now. One, it's not just coursework, Najee, and I'm speaking to you because you're right in front of me by sight, but we have an obligation to the University Council to teach out this degree. And where there is no contact time, we cannot give a grade for that. And so our what we have been saying to students, our guidance to students who are registering 1 week before the close of semester, is to go to the registry and do the withdrawal or whatever the proper thing is to sit out this semester so that you are not billed for this semester, and to come back in February when our semester restarts and join semester 2, and then we'll have a better conversation talking about how the student can catch up in summer and in the 3rd semester. But to knock that question again, if you're unregistered, you should not have participated in class. The university has not made any arrangement for that. So a kind lecturer or a kind lecturer may have done so, but that was wrong. And as the deans, we cannot say that we are counting coursework or any such thing. We have to stick to the standard that we have established. So I would suggest to you that if you are just paying up, go on withdraw for the semester. Put your attendance on hold. There's a proper way to do it. I may even be using the wrong term by saying withdrawal. Go and pause take a little leave of absence for the semester so that Treasury stops billing you and you owe the school nothing. Come back in semester 2 and start back with the monies that you have paid, and we will see how best, based on timetabling, we can have you do the things that are outstanding so you can move on in 1st semester of the next year. All right, so that question, that's as comprehensive an answer as we can give.
All right, thank you so much. We have another question. The receipt period for this semester, No, I know that in times gone by, there has been specified receipt periods for other semesters, and students have been asking about it for a while. But before you come with that, I've been informed that Dr. Broomfield has some remarks to give before. So Dr. Broomfield, I'm going to give you a chance to do so now before Ms. Smith-Johnson and Mr. Matthews come back to us. Dr. Broomfield? Ms. Walker, is Dr. Broomfield close to you? I know he had indicated to me that he wanted to say something immediately before he heads out. I'm seeing him here.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Yes, Najee, I have a question that I must ask, because I'm always thinking about the welfare of students, and I wondered, in other jurisdictions, the student union offers welfare support to its students, and I can't recall seeing anything from the union this year, and I was just wondering about the student union's welfare arm to assist students who are going through difficult times. And I figured this year more than any other year is when I would have thought that the union would have probably had a plan to support its students who they know are also going through some tough times. And I might have missed it, so I just thought about while you were speaking and listening to a few of the questions from the students and seeing a few of them online. I wondered if the student union had reached out or put forth its program of welfare support to the students. That's what I really want to ask about.
Okay, my president is here, and I know this is an initiative that he has been spearheading, so I'm going to give an opportunity now to go ahead and to answer. I am unsure if I saw the welfare officer in, but if she's here, she can also answer. But Sir President? Leonardo? I'm seeing you here, but I'm not sure if you're having an issue in unmuting.
Najee, I think he's having some Wi-Fi issues.
Najee, can we finish the academic questions until Leonardo sorts out?
Okay, sure, not a problem. I was actually trying to get him on, but I was having some difficulties. I'm sure when he comes on, he'll address that very timely question. Well, let us proceed with the academic questions, and I'm sure by the time we finish, we can rendezvous to that. So we were talking about the recent period, I believe. Could you go again and specify that for this period, for this semester?
Najee, we just finished an audit of operations at CMU. And we have a recommendation as a university that we're taking. We will have one receipt period every academic year, and that will be in August of each year. And so we plan to make the first one for the 2020-2021 academic year. And so we will have receipts in August. We will ensure that we post in a timely manner so that students can work out their business. The university's decision, though, is in August.
All right, thank you. I was, however, before, I just want to clear there because I was informed before that the receipt period would happen in tandem with normal examinations. So is this now a shift, or is it something that we're going to be implementing going forward? Or something that's happening now, for example, for the impending examinations?
No, man, Najee, if an exam is scheduled and you see it, a student sees it and wants to do it, then that's fine. But we appreciate though that that's a receipt that can be done because it's in the regular exam schedule. But when we talk about a period that we are scheduling for receipt, it will be in August. So if you see it in the regular exam period, that's fine. But when we talk about the official receipt period, that will be in August.
All right, thank you. And I have another question, final question to you, and to wrap up this entire segment. And it is going to be a bit of a controversial question in light of what you would have said earlier about our students who are unregistered. But if a student at this point in the semester has outstanding coursework, this could be a registered student, unregistered student, perhaps a student who is doing a redo. What is the procedure to have those outstanding courseworks done, and so the situation can be remedied?
Thank you for that question, Najee. It's the same procedure as outlined in the student handbook. If a coursework is outstanding, then that is the prerogative of the student and the lecturer who runs that course. So I expect if Najee sits research methodology with Yvette Johnson, and Najee missed a coursework, then Najee is going to clear it up with Mrs. Johnson. And because Najee is a good and proper registered student, and it is my business to ensure that you are not disenfranchised. So only if there was if you have some kind of grievance with the particular lecturer, you are registered, and for some reason, let's say you went online to upload something to your Moodle platform, and for whatever reason it didn't happen, and the lecturer had set a deadline that seemed unreasonable, and therefore the lecturer is saying, I will not mark this piece of work. And so by that, you have a work. If you have a piece of work outstanding for reasons that you think are you can grieve about, then send it to myself, send it to Mr. Matthews, send it to whomever. Let me speak in examples, though, Najee. So I have the entire group of Spanish lecturers. As colleagues, we are on the same WhatsApp platform. And I have seen, for example, where a lecturer has reopened an opportunity to sit a coursework several times. I know that for certain. Working with Mr. Lee, they have said it's open from 8 a.m. in the morning to 8:30 in the evening, until I am thinking to myself, boy, I would close it long ago. And students still miss those things after 3-4 opportunities. Then probably that student who has missed 3-4 opportunities to make good has a 0. But that's something that can be communicated to a dean, and we will look at it as best as possible and see what is reasonable and what we can do. And that's the prerogative of our registered students. If you have a browse with a coursework that you could not upload or you could not hand in because of some kind of extenuating circumstance, there are a number of them in the handbook. If you met in an accident, that's horrible, and that's something we have to help you with. Then give us the evidence, give us the scenario, give it to your dean, and we will do. It's not override, but the dialogue that you need to get the grade in. If a student is unregistered, Najee, we have to stand on principle. The student was not in the class, right? Student is registered and has a reasonable thing, and the lecturer is not available to resolve it, or the lecturer will not, and you still think you have a reasonable issue, then send it to your faculty dean and we will try to resolve that.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Johnson. I really do appreciate you and Mr. Matthews taking the time out today to come to us. And we're wrapping up now, so I'd appreciate if you could stay us on perhaps for the next 15 or so minutes. We're going to the question and answer segment now, after which we're just completely wrapping up. So ladies and gentlemen, we're at that point in our webinar where you yourself will be able to ask questions to our panelists. We have a lot of members here.
I think Glenardo needs to answer the question for Dr. Broomfield. We cut it off.
Yes, let me just see if he's here. Glenardo?
Yes, Najee, I'm back.
Okay, wonderful.
What was the question again, please?
Our university registrar, Dr. Broomfield, was asking what are the welfare activities that the union will be doing this year or have already effectuated.
Well, we would have had in the pipeline already a grant for students, but that has received major drawbacks from the administration, to be frank, for more reasons than one. There was an issue where there wasn't proper accounting mechanisms with the university and the student union account, and as a result of that, the process of receiving the funds to which we will make that disbursement of funds to our students was not garnered as yet. I would have received an email this morning prior to coming on to the meeting that there have been some strides in ascertaining that information. So by the early part of next semester, in the latter part of the exam period, into the early part of next semester, we will be rolling out the grants for sure. And just to inform our students that our focus predominantly for both semesters. Semester 1 would have practically finished already, but we have a lot of welfare initiatives for students because we would have recognized that that is the department that a lot of work is needed in, and more so because we have a pandemic, and we would have acknowledged the constraints, the different challenges that our students pose, even more so for students who are displaced right across the island. So we have a few initiatives, and we will be working on them promptly. Thanks, Najee.
All right. Oh dear. All right. So I believe with that said, we can now proceed into the question and answer segment of our proceedings today. And we're going to kick that off with some. I remember I was saying before to our students, if you have questions, just send them in the chat. I'll be dealing with those that have already been sent to me. So let's start there. Now, a student has been asking me for quite some time regarding a part-time student. She was saying to me earlier that, not sure if any of our deans could possibly answer this question, that her students or the students in her class have not been able or are not allowed during the normal timetable of exams, let's say between the hours of 9 to 5, to do their exams. Their workers will not allow them to do it. It's a case where some part-time students will be given some sort of allowance to do their exams within the evening hours. I'm not sure which member of the panel will be best able to answer this question.
I would suggest that in those specific individuals, send emails to us so that we can look at setting separate papers for them. In the past, in the face-to-face modality, subjects which are taught, delivered both during the day school and the evening school are delivered at the same time. And usually when a timetable is provided to the employer, time off is allowed. If there are individual and specific cases where this will not be done, then that individual or those individuals send an email to the exam center and to the faculty, and we will look at what can be done.
All right, thank you, Sir Matthews. Additional question. For persons at the Monique campus, how will they gain access to the exam platforms? So for the persons at the Monique campus, how will they gain access to the exam platforms? Mr. Matthews, I'm not sure if you could assist in this one again.
I would like to answer, if that's okay, Mr. Matthews.
The CRUs have been created for the Monique campus, so they will do the same exams as, well, put it this way, all locations will do the same exam for the same subjects, and that will be synchronized. Same time period, same exam, same sitting. So if it's a project, it's a project. If it's online, it's online. CRUs have been created, and the modality will be the same across all locations, as far as I'm aware.
Just to add to.
All right, thank you, Sir Matthews. I want to ask one more question, and I'm going to hand over to our social media correspondent, Davia, so we can take some questions from our YouTube audience. Now, another person is asking, pertaining to the registration, I'm assuming someone, perhaps Dr. Bloomfield, Ms. Walker, or Ms. Dennis left, but pertaining to the registration, This particular student says that she's pre-registered. She has a balance to clear from first year, and she's been told to withdraw from the semester. She's asked, hold on. She's asking if any assistance can be given to her in this particular situation, even to do makeup assignments if it's not a full grade. I'm not sure if any of the deans could answer this question.
That wasn't convoluted. Say it again.
The question is, she's pre-registered, but she has a balance to clear from first year. She has been trying to do so, but she has been informed that she should withdraw from this semester.
Which year is she in?
I am uncertain.
She needs to tell you which year she's in, and therefore which year does she want to do the course for? First year or the year she's in?
So this again seems like a highly specific situation that perhaps you need to make correspondence.
To conduct her whichever.
Okay.
Yes.
So this particular student, you know yourself, you don't have to say anything. You just make contact with the faculties, engineering, shipping and logistics, whatever it is, and the deans will know how best to assist you.
Mr. Moderator.
Right. Davia,
Mr.
I'm ready to take some questions from YouTube. Davia, are you here with us? I know that you were here. Saw you earlier.
I'm here.
Najee?
Hold on. Dr. Rumfield?
Yeah. The question that was asked, right, by the student, I didn't fully understand. Is it that you said that they owe some fees from first year, but they have paid some fees for this semester?
Apparently he or she owns some fees. She's been trying to pay them now, but she's being told that she should withdraw from this semester at this point in time.
Because I find it a little bit strange, because those cases that have been brought to my attention, I have always sought to discuss them with the treasurer and her team. And once a student is willing to make a payment and put an acceptable plan, matters like that have been addressed. So I find it a little bit strange at this stage that it's a little bit, I'm not understanding the story. And I would, as said by Ms. Johnson Smith and Mr. Matthews, would prefer to hear the details, one-on-one, so we can see really what the present situation and the issues are. All right?
All right, so I think the student needs to make direct contact with your officer or perhaps with the faculty offices so that they can know how best to assist her or him. The person should be anonymous and say, I'm unaware of the gender. So definitely,
sorry.
Something specific. Yes, Mrs. Smith-Johnson?
Just thinking it through. If a person is saying to us that they want to pay some fees, but they are being told to withdraw for the semester, it sounds to me, Dr. Broomfield, that a student wants to pay the fees now to finish this semester now. And the same thing that we had said earlier apply. We have to teach out the semester with all our students. So a student who is paying now to say, I will finish the semester now, that's the only space that we have been saying to students. You cannot pay 1 week before the end of semester and get through the semester by way of contact time and coursework. So withdraw and continue. So if it's that key, if the case is along that line, the student is best served by stopping officially and formally and then starting back in the next semester so we can teach the person the content and the coursework can be done correctly.
All right, thank you so much. Again, for handling specific cases like those, I'm going to advise students that you please make contact with the deans, make contact with the registrar. And as I'm sure you're seeing, we definitely have your best interest at heart. Please reach out to us so we can best know how to assist you. Another questions have been here in the chat talking about the examination card. As Ms. Dennis had alluded to earlier, no examinations cards will be printed for this set of examinations. So that will not be required. And of course, the examination cards will be to validate that you have indeed done the exam and they've been signed over, which the system will take care of. And because of that, there's no need for examination cards. It will happen in lieu of the physical card happening. But Davia, questions online? I know you were here earlier.
Okay, good afternoon. So I'll be asking 2 questions at a time. The first one is, will persons be able to revise their questions, especially multiple choice? And if no, why? And another question from Nicholas on Zoom, he's asking, how will exams be accessed?
So just to recuperate, that's a question I've heard quite a bit in terms of students being able to go back to a question. It has been circulated that students, after doing, for example, question 2 or question 1, and they go to question 2 want to change their answer for question 1, that won't be able to be done. That won't be facilitated. So I'm not sure if any of our deans or anyone in the registry or even Mr. Lee, our e-learning person, could speak to that. I think this is perhaps Mr. Lee's alley.
Right, Mr. Lee.
Again, now that depends on the nature of the question. So there are indeed questions that, because of the nature of the question, how the question was structured, that question itself provides the answers to many other questions or to another question. And so what you would find is that the teacher would actually fix the questions so that you are unable to return to it. Bearing in mind, the online modality is a little bit different from the face-to-face, and one can clearly see the implications of being able to go back to a question. So I do understand that you might want to change your answer or edit your answer based on some changes that you might have seen later on the paper. That feature, as we're saying, is dependent upon the nature of the question. So in some scenarios, you will find that the multiple choice question is fully randomized to the point where the lecturer doesn't know which question the student is getting, nor does the student. What you will find is that if it was a mid-semester or so, students might be tempted to try and change their answers based off some feedback that they got from a friend or something like that. And so that was the reason why it was built like that, so that, you know, once you've made a selection and you're sure about your selection, you're not able to change that selection. And again, it would have to depend, the answer for your question, Ms. Manta, depends upon, again, the nature of the exam and the nature of the question. So you could very well see some questions where you're unable to go back. And then the next section in that very same exam, you are able to move freely through the exam back and forth. It just depends on the nature of the question.
Okay.
Sure. Was there a second one that I should have answered as well?
The other question was, how will exams be accessed?
Okay, so prior to the question being asked, I believe that covered where all online examination, all examinations will be done online. So there is no face-to-face, right? That's one. 2, if your final mode of assessment is via project, chances are that the submission will be done via the e-learning platform as well, aka Moodle. So you will be doing your exams on Moodle. You will be submitting your final assessments, your projects via Moodle. Yeah, pretty much that's where the exams will be done, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Right back here to Zoom land before David heads over to YouTube land again. And this question I'm going to direct to Ms. Walker because I know it's right up her alley. The student is asking, how can she go about obtaining grants and scholarships? And I know that this is something that you're quite passionate about, Ms. Walker. So if you could just go ahead and share with our audience here how they can go about applying and getting those. Ms. Walker?
Yes, Najee. Scholarships in general are advertised by their respective organizations, usually starting January of each year. But the university has a listing of all the scholarships that it is aware of, and it is normally published on our website. Last year, we actually published the information to the union for them to circulate it to the staff. We will do the same this year, but we encourage students to read the paper, to go online. There is a website called scholarships.com that actually lists all the scholarships that are offered in Jamaica as well as abroad. So you can do your own due diligence. We have scholarships that are available to persons from different parishes, because there are organizations that operate in those parishes that will make them available to residents. So students need to be proactive and source scholarship on their own. But once again, I must reiterate that scholarships now are given to the best and the brightest and the most neediest. But you will, no matter how needy you are, if you do not have a high GPA, most scholarships, you won't even get your foot in the door for most scholarships. So we encourage students, try and maintain a 3.0 GPA.
All right, there we go. And let he who has ears, let him hear. Truly, solemn words being said there by our deputy registrant is important. And if you're to listen to anyone on the topic of scholarships and awards and grants and bursaries, it is definitely Ms. Walker, who has a lot of experience in that area. This time, I want to switch back over to Daisy. I'm going to ask that for the persons here, I'm seeing more questions pop up in the chat, but I'm going to give a few persons the opportunity to open their mics and to ask their questions in a calm and polite manner. If that is not the case, then you will be removed from the meeting. We must exercise some level of decorum and discipline while we're here interacting with the university's management and administration. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, I'm going to give you the chance now to raise your hand, and we will do it in the order on which the hands are raised, after which we'll head back over to YouTube land for some more questions. So let's head to YouTube now, Davia. When we come back, we'll take those persons who have raised their hands.
Okay, so we have Kedin, and she's asking, how can the issue of exemption be corrected on the progress report on the portal?
Ms. Walker, if you don't mind my saying so, I think that may be a question for you and your team.
That is something that is currently being worked on by the university. Currently, the system doesn't allow us to put void in the system, so that is currently being worked on. So persons who have exemption, if they get a transcript, it will be reflected on their official transcript. But currently, the team is working on putting certain features into the ERP system itself. Currently, students who are granted exemptions, you will see a UG. It doesn't mean that it's ungraded. It means that there is not a grade assigned. And that credit or that grade point is not added to your overall GPA. So do not worry. If the UG is there, it means that it's not calculated in your overall GPA or even in your semester GPA. But we are working on getting those things added into the SRS system. So those students who have gotten exemptions, you will be seeing EX. For those students who may have had disciplinary infractions and the subjects taken away, you might see a DL or you might see a void. But these are things that are currently being worked on by the ERP team.
All right, David, do you have another question from YouTube land?
Yes, I do. It's relating to the same progress report, and students want to know when it will be updated, because they're currently seeing grades from years before and not current grades.
No, I'm not understanding, because your grades will be updated as at your last semester or as at your last tenure with the university. So the only grades that probably should not be showing now, if you are a current student, are for the subjects that you're currently pursuing. And I know that, having looked at the system, that there are lecturers that are currently entering coursework grade. So it is possible that students can see their coursework grade from their side of the portal. Now, a grade will not be reflected unless it is finalized or verified. Now, if it is a case where you have done a subject from previous semesters and you are not seeing the grade, then you can drop us a line at registry@cmu.edu.jm for us to check it for you. All right? But students should be seeing all the grades. Please note too that if there is a financial block on your account, you may not be seeing anything at all.
And you can't see either.
Right? So if you're not financially cleared, it is possible that you are blocked from seeing any of your grades at all.
All right,
Okay,
thank you
thank
both
you.
so much. We're gonna take 2 questions here. Then we're gonna head back over to YouTube land and then back here again. So I'm gonna take Miss Marvel Jones and David James, those 2 persons in that order, and then we'll head back over to YouTube and return here. So Marvel?
Hi, good day. I wanted to ask a question about the Safe Exam browser because I've never used one before. So I wanted to know if it could be downloaded like a day or 2 before exam. And also I'd like to know what version should I download?
Sir Lee, I believe this is a question for you.
Thank you very much, Najee. Are you able to hear me clearly? Hello? Hello?
Sir Lee, not hearing you.
Not sure why that is. I am trying to respond. It seems as if.
Oh, we're hearing you now.
Okay, cool. Wonderful. All right. So currently, the version that's being used is Safe Exam Browser version 3.0. And what it is really, it's basically a software that restricts movement or navigation on the device from the launch point, meaning if this software was launched through Moodle, then you will be restricted to only operate within the space on Moodle. And what this does is gives us a level of integrity to say that this person, was not using this device to maliciously attempt the exam. So we are at version 3.0. It can be downloaded. It's quite accessible. So you could just go to Google and type in Safe Exam Browser. Additionally, I am putting the link for it in the chat. My device is a bit frozen at the moment. So I'm not sure if you guys are hearing me or able to see what I'm typing in the chat. But a lot of information will be coming your way, that's the students' way, in short order via the marketing department and the social media channels regarding examinations from Safe Exam Browser, how to set it up, how to install it, how to troubleshoot it, as well as tips and tricks to easily access your exam.
Lord, thank you, Mr. Lee. I believe that you have sufficiently answered that question. We can proceed to the next person, David James. I don't want to make any assumptions of the gender.
It's David. Thank you very much. All right. Good afternoon, all. Just quickly, the students, most of us, quite a few of us are are beneficiaries of Student Loan Bureau, and presently Student Loan is experiencing some issues with regards to ensuring that students are properly cleared. I'm a beneficiary of Student Loan Bureau, and I was exempted, or should I say, I was prevented for a while to even get access to the Moodle platform, even when I was trying to make some queries regarding that. I had paid my auxiliary fee, and I was still experiencing some restrictions, so I don't know if, I know that maybe we need for as individuals try to get in touch with the school, but which I have done, and in addition to that, you know, I've also been when I'm to provide the transcript to Student Loan Bureau, I realized that the grades were also removed, you know, so that also prevented me from getting access, based on the fact that Student Loan probably put a little hole on it because, you know, the transcript may not be available. You know, the grades that I'm supposed to present to them is not there. I've been exempted from some courses, and still, you know, every year I have to be calling to remind them about the letters I had emailed to the school regarding my exemption. You know, I'm seeing fail on my transcript. You know, other students are also experiencing the same. So I don't know, Miss Walker. Good afternoon to you. You had emailed you regarding that some time ago, and I haven't seen any difference on my progress report. It's stating that I failed these subjects, although I'm exempted. Right. The next question is, you know, regarding the classes, the exam, the timing. We want to find out if, for instance, for part-time students, you know, if there can be some exception with regard to the time that the exam starts, if, you know, maybe 5:30 to 8:30, because right now, you know, myself and other students, I'm unemployed for a little while now, and I'm supposed to start working on my new job in January, but yet, you know, for me to present to them that I have an exam and stuff, it kind of seems, you know, it's gonna be a problem for me. And I'm sure other students may share a similar concern. So I don't know who can assist with some information regarding those two questions, please.
I would like to tackle the first question, but I'm not sure if the members from the academic team are still on. Yvette, Philip?
Yes, I am still here.
All right, Philip, maybe you'd want to take that first question, that second question, or you want me to tackle the first one?
Go ahead with the first one.
All right, so Mr. James, I've taken the liberty of pulling up your record for you. All right, so I have been reading your mail, and it is surprising that when you were writing, I was also responding to the mail that I see you typed in the chat. So I was responding at the same time you were talking. So your grades are not missing, they're there. There are some grades that are still open. So when they're open, it's not visible from your side of the portal. And these are subjects that were done in semester 3. So we can liaise with your faculty with the intent of having those grades finalized so that they are visible to you. Now, there are 2 subjects that I'm seeing on your record that may appear as if you have failed them. You said that you got exemption for them. The reason why they're showing us fail and not UG is that you started doing coursework for them. So the coursework were recorded. And when the coursework were recorded, because the grades are under 39, it's coming up as an F. So it could be that you started your courses waiting on the exemption, and then you were given the exemption later. So that's fine. As I indicated before, the system currently doesn't show exemption. That is something that we're working on. When you apply for an official transcript, that will be reflected. However, I'm going to be noting your situation because it is showing fails, and the mere fact that it's showing Fs, it means that it's going to be counting it to your GPA, and that is what we don't want. So I will liaise with your faculty to see how we can address that, because maybe what we will have to do is to void any grades that may be in those subject areas. So it still appears as a UG and it doesn't affect your GPA. All right. Philip, over to you.
Okay, Mr. James, what I appreciate the situation that faces you, and I can see that it would be difficult to just start a job and then ask for time off. what we're gonna do in faculty is to look at the courses. Send an email to fsl@cmu.edu.jm. For individuals in your situation like yours, we're gonna look at, we'll speak to the lecturers about possibly a second paper, which to facilitate a time that is more convenient to you, 5:30 to 8:30. So just send that email to us. And I would encourage anyone else in a similar situation to do the same, because as you would be aware, in the past, when it was a face-to-face situation, we would timetable similar classes which the day school and the evening school does at the same time, which is what was done in this instance. But I appreciate your situation. So send that email. We're gonna look at the series of courses that are in the evening and see what accommodation can be made, okay? And make an accommodation rather than see what accommodation can be made, okay?
All right, thank you, Sir Matthews, and thank you for answering those questions. And for the person who asked the question, definitely appreciate you stepping up to the plate to ask. We're gonna head back over to YouTube land now and take 2 questions. When we return, I'll be hearing from Mr. Michael Powell and Miss Fabiana Ellison. They had indicated that they have questions as well. Davia?
Okay, so Leonard wants to know, does the SCB collect any other information from the user aside from just preventing students from switching to other tabs?
All right, Mr. Lee had some issues. He's rejoining us now. It's perfect timing, Mr. Lee. Just go ahead and repeat the question for him, please, Davia, so he can answer.
Okay, so does the SCB collect any other information from the user aside from just preventing students from switching to other tabs during the exam?
Mr. Lee, I know you're just joining, but if you could just come quickly into the fold. Student is asking if the SCB takes any other information from using it.
And also, will each question be timed?
And if the questions will be timed.
You're referring to personal information? No, it doesn't. They think of a safe exam browser as simply just a confined space, meaning once you enter this area, wherever you are on the site or whatever you're doing on the site, you'll be restricted to that area alone. But it does not pull data from your device. It doesn't give us your IP address or stuff like that. We pull that sort of information from the e-learning platform. So really and truly, the Safe Exam Browser is just a space to ensure privacy and security. As Jay had said, there was our next question in regards to the timing. Right, so the Safe Exam Browser does work with time in terms of length of your exam. If it's 3 hours, the 3-hour timer will be present on the Safe Exam Browser, and you will see it ticking in some corner of your screen. It's not used necessarily to time per question, but to time via assignment. So you would not be timed for, say, 1 minute or 2 minutes for each question. You'll be timed 3 hours for the entire exam. I hope that suffices as an answer.
Okay, because I know that's a concern a lot of students are having in terms of thinking that, for example, each multiple choice would be 1 minute or a couple of seconds, but they were happy to hear that just for the entire exam, it's 3 hours. They won't be timing the individual questions.
Right, so what we definitely want to suggest and make clear here is that with the e-learning or with online learning, Najee, you are required to be more proactive. You're more in control of your learning outcome and the experiences that you have, as opposed to the face-to-face lecture where the lecturer was, present and over your back telling you to do your work and that sort of stuff. So what I would say here is, no more than ever, you have to be cognizant of your time management skills to ensure that you don't spend the duration of your exam on one section or 15, 20 minutes on one multiple choice question or that sort of stuff.
All right, let's have another question. We want to wrap this up by 2 o'clock, guys, because we're way over.
Right. Good
Another
afternoon
no,
again.
hold on, Mr. Powell.
Okay.
I believe we're taking questions from YouTube before we come back here. So we're supposed to another question from Davio.
Okay, so Monique is saying she's seeing courses on the e-learning platform that she already did and passed from year 2. And she's saying she sent an email pertaining to this already, but there was no response. And other persons in her group is seeing the same thing.
So if I'm trying to answer that one, Najee, those courses are what we call archive courses. They have been hidden because they've been used in previous semesters. Now, the reason why they are now appearing in the current semester is that grade retrieval has been going on. And in order to facilitate the retrieval of grades in the most efficient manner, meaning to give the vast majority of admin the privilege to fetch the grades, we just brought the courses back so that they could see them. Now, if you're seeing an old course, please do not worry. By the end of the week or by Wednesday, that course will be hidden from you again. You will not be able to edit anything in the course. As we're saying, it's just to retrieve the grades from the course, and we made it available so that all members of the faculty, all the relevant personnel are able to see it. Under normal conditions, this would not be the case. You would not be able to see the course once it's closed, even after, if for argument's sake, exams or registry was going in to retrieve grades, you still wouldn't be able to see. But given the nature of the situation that we're experiencing now, graduation, all of that wonderful stuff, that's the way it is. So do not be alarmed, especially for the returning students, and you see the 2019 courses, they will only be there until for the next couple of days.
All right, we're back here in Zoom world. I'm going to try to wrap this section as soon as possible. We want to finish by 2 o'clock. We should have finished for 12:30, and we are still here. So we're way over, and our panelists have really been gracious to stay with us on. So we don't want to extend them beyond that time. So we're going to take Michael. We're going to take Michael. We're going to take Michael. Hold on, there's someone else. Fabiana, and then Andrea. So Michael.
Okay, so
Right.
I am next.
Okay, good afternoon again, guys. So I am having a situation or an issue where I see the Treasury Department, they speak about their fees, which I understand because that is what drives the college. However, we have been paying for these courses, which includes tutoring, but I am in second year, first semester, and I have not been receiving any such, right? So I would like for that to be addressed. And Mr. Lee was answering a question that I was asking in the chat, right? If we were doing a face-to-face, we would have been able to go back through the pages to get whatever information may be available from that page to aid us in a question, maybe 3 places down. So why prevent us going back? You can't look at it to say that persons will be passing on answers via WhatsApp or so on. So you restrict us going back to get necessary information so we can better able to answer the question that follows. I don't think that is fair to us.
Mr. Lee, can you say if this is true or not, if students will be prevented from going back to questions 1? I think that essentially is what he's querying.
Thanks much again, Najee. As I was saying earlier, and as I had said to Michael, Mr. Powell in the chat amongst with other persons, the face-to-face and the online, they're different in terms of how the assessments are run. Now, naturally, if you're doing a face-to-face, Mr. Powell, there are certain privileges that you would not have that you currently have now if you're doing an online examination. Now, regarding the question type, I was not specific in terms of saying that every question will be like this. I only said that there are specific questions for certain courses where the lecturer might feel or deem necessary that you do not get the opportunity to go back. All right. No, if it is that you're basing, and I understand clearly where you're coming from, right? Sometimes you'll be working out a question, and then upon seeing another question, you're like, wait, you know, I answered that question incorrectly because the nature of the latter question is now pointing towards some error that you made earlier. And I completely get that. However, as I'm saying, this feature where the questions are restricted so that you do not scroll back is not a mandatory thing. The default, the normal procedure is that you are able to rotate and navigate through the entirety of your paper. Do you understand what I mean? Skip from question 1 all the way to the end, vice versa. What you should bear in mind, and the entire student populace should bear this in mind as well, is that no questions are the same. Your question 1, Mr. Powell, will not be my question 1, nor is it likely in some cases that you will have the same question. So you might be doing a macroeconomics exam with 20, 30, 40 multiple choice questions. And I am doing the same macroeconomics exam with the same 40 multiple choice questions. And we will never ever share the same question. And I do not mean you will have question 1 being the same as my question 1. I'm saying that your question 1 will never appear on my paper at all, and vice versa. That's because we have so many questions that we are able to rotate and randomize your paper to the point where I am not even sure as a lecturer which question you'll be getting. So in this scenario, in scenarios where they have these amount of questions, students will be free to navigate right throughout the paper. In these sort of scenarios, the paper will be available for more than the 3 hours because the nature of the questions and the type of questions is such that we have a large bank. We can write 50, 60, 100 different papers from the one bank. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Powell. But just to shorten, 1, it's not mandatory. 2, it depends on the nature of the course. 3, the default method is that students are able to navigate freely throughout their questions unless it is set otherwise. I've also, before I come off, Najee, I've also placed in the chat the link to download the Safe Exam browser. Bear in mind, again, it is only compatible with Windows devices, Apple devices, both your Apple laptops and your Apple phones. You're downloading the most recent version, which is 3.0 for Windows. And if it is that you already made use of the Safe Exam browser, then you can visit your control panel just to check which version you have. If you have 2.4 or anything outside of version 3, then you need to remove it. Bear in mind, this is a one-time download. So if you go now to your control panel and you check what's happening and you see that there's 2.4 and you delete it and you install version 3.0, this is the only time that you would need to do this. Hereafter, what is required is that you visit the course page or the exam page, click on the configuration file from the course page to start your exam.
All right. Oh, sorry about that. Yes. So we're winding down. We're going to take Fabiana's question. Then Andrea, then we think we can take one more question from YouTube land and then we'll end this segment. Fabiana?
Hello, good day. It's Fabiana.
Oh, my apologies, Fabiana.
Yes, I actually have 2 questions. My first question is basically it is a situation because I was relating back to my year 1 classmates and I got a question to ask. The question was basically the person said that he or she paid only their auxiliary fee during the pre-registration period. the person said that they're trying to make it back to Kingston to pay some more money on their tuition by this week before the office closed. The person is saying if it's going to cause a problem with their exam and getting their grades, etc. The other question is the Safe Browser download thing. I did two of my midterm semester exams, and I was not able to download the Safe Browser on my computer. I am not sure why. I tried for the entire day, and I had to go to a library to do my exams each day in order to get it done on the Safe Browser. Is there any other way that we can do our exams other than the Safe Exam Browser? Because my computer is not allowing me to do it on it, and I'm not sure I'd be able to go to the library every day when I have my exams to do it.
All right, so that's a question, I think, for the Treasury and for Mr. Lee. I'm going to ask that we keep our answers brief because we're trying to wrap up. So I'm not sure if anyone from the Treasury or Mr. Lee would like to go first.
Well, I can go first regarding the Safe Exam Browser. And, what I can tell you, as I said before, is that this software is also the three operating systems that I had mentioned earlier: Windows and your Apple devices, whether it's your Apple laptop, Mac, or just the iOS, meaning your iPhone. Normally, would work with maybe from, I think, iPhone 9 or 10, 8 upwards, something like that. Now, what I will say, Miss Ellison, is that the fact that you're not able to use the Safe Exam Browser on your device suggests that you're using a Chromebook or a notebook or one of those devices of that kind. Unfortunately, for the integrity of the exam, there's no way around using a security feature, right? If, for argument's sake, we were not using the security feature, when the school is now audited, the UCJ comes to audit our exams and say, well, let us see the integrity and the validity of these exams that were administered through the COVID period. We would not be able to provide them with, suitable or sufficient stamps that, hey, these exams were run in a proper manner. And what that would result in is we're starting over the semester from scratch again, basically. I'm sure you would not want that. No one here wants that. So what some of the possible solutions to this issue, one, and these solutions might not fit everyone, right? As you said, make use of an internet cafe or the library. Find some other device that you're able to use. Make sure that you're aware of your exam schedule, and if you have issues, you communicate in advance. Don't wait until the day of the exam to make this known, right? But to really quickly answer your question, no, it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to do an exam without using the Safe Exam Browser.
All right, thank you. And I believe our first question was fitting for someone in the Treasury, for someone that paid some fees but was still prevented from using this system. I'm not seeing Ms. Harrison anymore. I'm unaware if there's another member of the Treasury here. I know she had indicated that Mrs. Misha Sutherland Brown would have been here with us, but I'm not seeing her. I'm unsure if the registry team perhaps could offer a word.
The word I would offer is for the persons to get in touch with us directly so that we can look at their statement. Because it would mean if that student is not an SLB and has only paid the auxiliary fee, it means that that person is not registered either. So it would be interesting, or it would be good for that person to reach out to the university directly.
All right. Let's head into a final question before we head back to YouTube land. Andrea.
Good afternoon. My questions are, okay, first one. I am a part-time student and I'm asking a general question because I see the exams and I realize that some of the exams are in the morning. And as a part-time, I thought the exam would have been after 5:30, catering for people who works early in the morning. Another one is, but can you adjust with that one first? Because the exam in the morning as a part-time. I'm currently in some noise.
This is something that's been raised continuously throughout the meeting, and I think what Mr. Matthews had said earlier still stands, that if you're a part-time student and your work will not allow you to participate in the exam period in the time that is given, reach out to the faculty and we will see how best we can do to facilitate you. If there's something we need to send out to the work, we will do that. If it's something that we have to send out to the employer, or we have to come up with some alternative arrangements for you, we will have to do just that. But this is something that we had raised before, so I think that should sufficiently answer. But there's no blanket approach for all parties.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Also, for the midterm semester, right? While doing the midterm semester, some of us were, I don't know, but my internet went off for one of my exams.
I believe Mr. Lee spoke to this earlier as well.
I wasn't online.
Yeah, I understand. Mr. Lee had spoken to this, had given word on this earlier, that if you do experience difficulties in the exam, of course, you'll have to provide evidence of that. But as long as you email it to him and contact his team, the information for his team has been publicized. So if you contact the team within a timely manner, they will get back to you as soon as possible with how you can remediate the situation. But there are contingency mechanisms in place so that if something happens in the exam, you are protected.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, so let's head over to YouTube land now for the final time as we wrap up, Davio. Last question.
All questions from YouTube have already been answered.
Wonderful. All right, so I guess with that being said, I can accept one more. Anybody else has a question burning on their heart they'd like to ask? Just raise your hand. For the panelists that are here, I see that the registry team is still here. I know the academics is still here. I'm going to ask that you just place those emails in the chat so students know how to reach out to you. I know registry at CMU, and I believe Miss Dennis had said examination center, or was it exams? I'm uncertain. Treasury and all the other persons. Just please, if you can leave your contact information directly here in the chat, that would be best. Last question, okay, Miss Abigail Griffiths. I see, Abby, hi, how are you? I see that you have your hand raised, but you've also put it in the chat, so I'm uncertain it's the same question. But the question you put in the chat.
Good afternoon, Najee.
Hi, Shani, let's maintain some order, please. Miss Abigail had placed a question before. We can take you as the final question after. So, Miss Abigail had said she's asking, where is that? I lost it. Yes, how will the engineering students' GPA be calculated? Noting the fact that we don't have physical training. I'm assuming that this is a marine student. I'm uncertain if or panelists today will be able to answer such questions, but I'm sure they can try. Mr. Matthews, I know this is outside of your normal remit. We're not sure if you have any insight on that.
Physical training doesn't come with a grade point, so it's not calculated in the grade point average.
Okay, noted. All right. So I think that should satisfy Abigail's questions. And lastly, the lady knows herself who just spoke a while ago. I can't remember your name, but you just spoke a while ago. And I believe you had messaged me asking to see if you could say something. There was someone, let me see if I can scroll the chat and find it. I'm not seeing it, but you just spoke a while ago. If you could just go ahead, you'll be the last question today. If not, I'll just have Michael Paul coming back to us for the final time.
Drop offline, Nadia. Drop offline.
Perhaps. All right, last opportunity. Michael, go ahead, last question.
Right. I had asked 2 questions, right? Mr. Lee answered one. But the other one was as it relates to tutoring that we have not been getting. I have not received any from year 1, and I am just in year 2. So can someone answer that for me, please?
I'm not understanding what you mean by tutoring.
All right. So we are supposed to have I think a 1 hour and a half tutoring session, right?
Oh, the
For some
tutorial.
courses. Yes.
Okay, okay. You're a student of what faculty?
Engineering.
Okay. I'm not sure if Mr. Matthews could answer this question. In hindsight, I should have invited Dean McCarthy to be here. But in lieu of his presence, I'm not sure if Mr. Matthews or anyone could answer the question of tutorials. 1 second. All right, I am unable to contact the engineering admin. Well, feel free to email her. I can't tell you the nuances of that situation because I have not been made aware. But her email is mfoster, so that's M as in Marshall E. Foster, FOSTER @cmu.edu.jm. So that's mfoster@cmu.edu.jm. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the examination webinar. But before we go, let's give you just a taste of the talent that this union has to offer. I'm going to invite at this point Miss Delicia Gale to come to us with her musical rendition as we call this event to a close, or bring this event to a close rather. Delicia? All right, Delicia is not here. And I was not gifted to a great ability with seeing talent. So I'm going to invite Javion. I believe that you're still here with us, right? Yes, Javion, your time.
Yeah, man, no problem. Just good afternoon, everyone. Just a
Not
mic
seeing you
test.
though,
Is everyone
Javion.
hearing me? Yeah, man, I'm experiencing a bit of technical difficulties, so my camera is non-operational at this time.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, man, so on behalf of the Caribbean Maritime University Students Union, it is with a sense of pride that I register thanks to the following individuals: Professor Ibrahim Ajaguna, Mr. Philip Matthews, Mr. Mark Lee, Dr. Mark Brumfield, Miss Keisha Walker, Miss Jonique Dennis, Miss Patricia Harrison, Mrs. Misha Sutherland Brown, Mr. George Malcolm, and Miss Javilla Ho for taking time out of their busy schedules to relay some crucial information to our student population today at our very first examination webinar, guided by the theme, Sailing to Success, Navigating the Waters of Online Examinations. I can assure that this information will be used positively to aid our students matriculating at the Caribbean Maritime University. In these unprecedented times, we must all manifest a positive mindset and keep moving forward. Thank you once again to our elite administration. Keep on guiding us as we continue to redefine maritime excellence through innovation and technology. Until next time, keep safe, sanitize regularly, and to all our students of the Caribbean Maritime University, God bless and all the best on your examinations. Thank you, Mr. Nunes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Mr. Anderson. Today, as your Vice President of Academics, it was my pleasure to moderate the proceedings on the examination webinar under the fitting theme of Sailing to Success, Navigating the Waters of Online Examinations Together. Again, I wish to echo the call of my union and just express thanks to my academics committee as well for putting this together. It definitely wasn't a singular effort, and I wish to extend my unfeigned appreciation to them at this time. Thank you all so much, students, for coming to us today. We really do appreciate your patronage, and thank you for entrusting your union to continue to safeguard your best interest. We're here to ensure that your sojourn through the university is the best one possible, and that is a mandate that we take very seriously. Again, thanks to all the persons who are here today, especially university management. We do appreciate you so much. On behalf of the union, it's my pleasure now to end this session. Thank you all so much for coming, and we do wish you all the best for this season, this Unitide season, and for the exams in January. Again, my name is Najee Nunes, the moderator and VP of Education, and it was my pleasure to guide the proceedings today. Do have a wonderful rest of your day.